What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. That's right. We're back with more Rhythm of War. Our fourth episode of fourth episode of Rhythm of War.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got 5 to go.
I don't do math.
You are not a math gay. We know that.
No.
Yeah. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Yeah.
From the not math gay.
Yeah, happy
and
Pride.
And the math gay.
The Pride reaction will be available for you shortly. It's already available if you're over on Patreon.
Yeah, I'm not a math gay, but I am a math gay. I am not a physics gay, as the chat for the book clubs keep telling me.
No, there's math and then there's physics, and like both of those things are out of my grasp of reality.
And I took physics in high school so long ago that I've forgotten it, apparently. Because I get it wrong a lot.
I think I got 43% in physics.
You took physics?
Yeah, and then 38 in chemistry. Because in grade 10, you had to take all 3. So I did great.
Oh, and then you split for 11 and 12.
Yeah, did great for biology. Biology got like 80s and 90s, but physics and chemistry are not my strong suits.
Yeah. Yeah, underscore. Thank you for becoming a nerd radiant.
Hell yeah.
A radiant
Thank
nerd.
Thank you for being here.
John Schmidt says the nerdy, the wordy, the dirty, the book club. That's not this episode. This is gonna be a very non-sexual episode.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's us. I
know, but at the same time.
Look, I don't know. I have no idea.
It's bad. Things aren't good.
Yeah, but like things on Roshar
Everyone is
are always
too tired
bad.
to fuck right now.
Fair. You know what? That's fair. That does require a certain amount of energy.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. It does. Energy that our main characters don't have.
No.
This is a very special day, chat. We are in auspicious air at the moment. And it's really thanks to y'all that we get to make a very, very, very cool announcement that is really narcissistic and all about us, but we hope that you'll understand why we are incredibly grateful and think that it's really all about this community.
Yeah. This morning, we made a deposit down on a house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday we went out. We were looking at houses. Basically, the saga of it is... we found this house. It was the first one we looked at. Loved it immediately. Knew it was going to be Nerdy Nightly Studios. Mm-hmm. And then saw some other houses. Didn't like them as much. And then we were like, we would like to come see that house again before we put in an offer. And so our agent called them and was like, hey, they're going to come see it on Thursday. And then they're going to put in an offer if, there's no like red flags. Mm-hmm. And the agent for the sellers was like, oh no, we have an offer in, like we've already countered.
Yeah, oopsie, we forgot to tell you, even though we said we would.
Yeah, they were legally obligated to tell us, and they didn't do that. So there was some shenaniganery, and it looked like we were going to lose the house. The other buyers accepted the counteroffer, and we then were like, okay, well, we're going to go back on Thursday. And
saw some other places.
Yeah, we're going to see some other places.
Yeah.
And as we were walking out the door Thursday to go see other places.
Yesterday.
Literally. Our agent called us and was like, hey, that other buyers couldn't come up with their deposit. Do you guys want to go see the house again today? And we were like, yes. And then he came back and he was like, hey, they can't show the house until 7. Do you want to just put in an offer? And we were like, yes. And so we put in an offer, they accepted, and now we are buying a house. Thank you, everyone. So many people in chat.
Insane. It feels crazy.
Yeah, so we are moving to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Oh, yeah. Damn. Yeah, very cheap. Love that. Dedsy, thank you for that super chat. I haven't read this yet. So, hey, bye. Congrats on the house.
Thank you, Dedsy.
Yeah, don't spoil yourself on this book. It's good. You should definitely read it, but thank you for the super chat.
I love people knowing that they can pop into the first, 10 to 20 minutes of book club and not get spoiled.
Yeah, they're like, you know what, I'm pretty sure I'm, fairly safe.
Load Bolt. Thank you for that super chat. Beginning of the nerdy commune. That is funny, because the reason why we're moving where we're moving is we have a bunch of friends who live there. We're going to be a block and a half from where our editor lives.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people in the area who are friends.
We love. Yeah.
So we are kind of building a commune.
Yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show it to you guys. But yeah, Nerdy Nightly Studios.
Jared, I know Puerto Rico is beautiful. I wish I could move there.
Yeah.
I think legally I can, right? Because Puerto Rico is the United States. I'm technically a citizen of Puerto Rico.
I don't know how that works.
I mean, I'm a citizen of the country, so
Yeah.
I can move there if I want.
I guess.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
Actually, as a territory, there might be laws that make it a little bit more complicated than the average state.
I have literally no idea.
I don't know.
The mods can move out of the garage. Yes. In fact, we were probably going to put in a brand new garage for you.
Yeah, the garage that we are buying is very small, so we might have to build a new garage once we can. Once we're back to having money, we just paid our taxes and then put a down payment on a house. So right now, don't ask us to buy anything. Don't put out anything cool, companies.
Yeah,
we cannot afford it at the moment.
Everybody stop putting out things
I need
that
no
cost
new
money.
video games till at least November.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to recover a little bit from this.
Okay, yeah, there's something that stops me.
But it was very worth it. The house is very cool. It's older, so it's got a lot of personality to it.
It's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is so old that the when it was built is estimated.
True.
They believe it was built in 1907. They're not sure.
Yeah, I think somewhere around there.
That's the exact date on the paper.
Sure. I was just trying to be ambiguous in case anyone's trying to find out where we live.
I mean, if you want to be like houses built maybe in 1907 in the province of Ontario, go for it. That's got to be a large number of houses.
Look, you never know. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it's an old house.
Arzu says, "Did you check the insulation?" No, actually.
Well, we were there. Yeah, we were there on a hot day.
It has really good airflow though. Like the AC is pumping.
Yeah, no,
it has central air. The people who have lived there have renovated it. It's nice.
Yes, they've taken very, very, very good care of the house. Scuff Andy, thank you for being a Nerds Radiant for a month. Love the background set. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna change soon, because we're gonna move.
Yeah, we are gonna build a little set for a book club in the new house.
Yeah, honestly, it'll probably be pretty similar to this because I kind of love it.
I was live the other day talking about this. Playing Claire Obscure, which I'll be playing again tomorrow. And someone in my chat was like, "Hey, haven't you moved like 3 times in the last 4 years?" And I was like, "Yes." And we would love to stop. Yeah. We hate it as much as y'all probably hate hearing us talking about moving.
Yeah.
But it just keeps fucking happening.
Yeah.
We've made some good choices. Zinnia was a good choice.
Yeah.
This house. What?
Nothing.
What?
Nerdy has no fear.
Of a place we lived a year ago? What are they going to do?
I don't know.
What are they going to find?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You're concerned that I just said part of a street that we lived on a year ago that we no longer live at and have no connection to at all.
Yes.
As if they're going to what?
I don't know. The internet is scary, okay? Leave me alone.
_ thank you for that. Super chat. Something for future home repairs. They never end.
Thank you. And Blue, thank you for 10 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Blue. Appreciate you.
Thank you. There were a lot of reactions this week, so feel free to go enjoy those.
We appreciate you. The reason, though, we didn't say it enough, but like the only reason, I want to be really clear. The reason I brought this up on Book Club, because I don't think normally this is something I would talk about on Book Club, because it does, I don't want us to feel braggy. And I understand that in the current market, buying a house is kind of a brag. It is a really hard thing to do at the moment, especially for people my age. I'm in rarefied air, and I understand that. But I also understand that the reason I'm in rarefied air is not some like financial windfall that was generational wealth. It wasn't because I fucking rock. You know what I mean? It was because 4 years ago, we started to react to the Wheel of Time, and we built a YouTube channel off of it. And we're here because of Book Club, right? Like, this show was the backbone that built the empire.
Yeah.
This was the start of it. This audience, this community, was where we blew up. Mm-hmm. Not blew up, because we have 80,000 subscribers. In the modern lingo of what blowing up means on the internet, we never blew up.
Yeah,
we are the slow and steady turtle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and which is honestly fine. I would prefer that.
Yeah. We're turtling and the herring it. But we're the turtle, and we are in a place because of this show where we're able to buy a house. And so to all of you who have ever watched the show, who have ever supported it, who stopped listening when I stopped liking the Wheel of Time and went on my slavery rants, even the people who left, that guy that was a $50 a month patron who left because he was pissed that I skimmed the clothing descriptions. Even you, my guy, like that. This is only possible because our community has made it possible, and I'm bringing it because I am so eternally grateful, both to Robert Jordan and to the people who've enjoyed any of us talking or even hating on us talking about this. We say leave mean comments at the end because we accept that our haters helped us get here too, you know?
Fair.
And I'm just, you know, this has been a lot this week. It's been a very stressful and up and down, and there's been a lot going on, a lot goes into it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am overcome with gratefulness right now towards everyone who has ever supported our channel in any way. It genuinely means the world.
Yeah. This community is everything to us.
Yeah.
We are very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah, shout out to the Attack on Titan community, y'all.
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh my god.
I won't do your salute because I think that's illegal in Canada, but I mean, Elon did it on stage, so.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it can't be that illegal, right?
It's illegal enough.
He did it while working for the government. Yeah, shout out to Attack on Titan.
Blue says, I'm very happy with the investment.
When you open no, you know what? Our doorbell. When you, if any of you are ever fortunate enough to come to our house, the doorbell is going to go.
Be like, there's no way that Nerdy Nightly could live here. They hated that show. Oh my god.
Okay, with that done, do you have any? I just said a lot. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I'm kind of just like, it feels surreal at the moment. I expected to never own a house in my whole life because I was like, I'm gonna be an actor, and like that, man, that's rough. So this is one of those weird milestones that I never thought was possible, and you guys changed that, so thank you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Brother Armin says, but what about, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
But what about the lesson in the alleyway with Jasna and Shalon?
Are we going to rehash that?
I don't think we need to. I think everybody knows where we stand on it.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to get some rants and tangents out of it.
Look,
that's what you guys love.
If you come on my property, I will shoot you and you will die.
Oh.
And so I need you to understand that I learned the lesson from Jasna. She just didn't understand the lesson she was teaching Shalon. That's all.
What?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That's fine. Let's move on to Rhythm.
Jasna didn't shoot someone on her property.
No, but she basically was like, you are encroaching upon me, therefore murder is acceptable. And she committed murder.
You are... Oh.
And so I will do the same. If you put my wife in danger, I will kill you. It's not that complicated.
Right. What makes it complicated, it doesn't matter. We did this already. Yeah, it's
What
fine.
makes it complicated is that she thought that she was like making the street safer, and she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother Armand, this is definitely your fault. We're gonna keep moving.
Jared Poulter just dropped bars in the chat. Jasna is Kyle Rittenhouse, but more intelligent and intentional. Yes.
What?
I mean, basically, yeah.
Jasna is not a rapist?
Kyle Rittenhouse didn't rape anybody. I want to be really clear for legal reasons.
Isn't that the guy
Kyle Rittenhouse, nope, no. Stop, really stop. Kyle Rittenhouse did not rape anybody, and that is not something that we're saying on this podcast. Go on.
Isn't he the...
No.
Who is this?
Kyle Rittenhouse went to a protest with a gun, and he shot 2 protesters because he felt unsafe, and then became a Republican hero because of it. He did not rape anybody, and I just because we are putting our words on the internet.
Who am I thinking about who got 6 months in jail or whatever? That
swimmer dude? Was his name Brock or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no.
It's all fucking... yeah.
Yeah.
There's too many shitty people in the world.
Jasna's much closer to Kyle Rittenhouse. That's fair.
Okay.
He went to a protest and was like, I don't feel safe. And then he killed 2 black people. Actually, I don't know if he killed 2 black people. He killed 2 protesters. And now he's like a fucking talk show host.
Anyways, great.
Yeah. Brock Turner, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I don't know.
Anyway, we just lost half of our audience. Let's talk about the Rhythm of War.
Great.
Yeah. Hey, Yasna would have been like, Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. Should I put that on TikTok? That won't be controversial, right?
Yeah, wow. If you do that, you have to state that I do not agree with you in the captions. And
I don't know how you can't agree with me. It's just a true statement.
Sure.
They basically did the same thing.
Sure. Anyways.
They went into a situation that might be dangerous with a weapon.
War.
And then I had to use the weapon I brought to this dangerous situation.
We are on chapter 33. Understanding. Wow, that's...
Getty Disciple says, it's cute that you think half your audience leans right. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's simply no way.
Understanding.
Understanding. We were right. Kaladin starts group therapy.
Yeah.
That is basically what this chapter is.
Yeah.
Is that they're like, wait a minute. We actually have no information on how to help these people. And so we're going to try something new. Do a little test group experiment.
What I did, I really appreciated Liren stepping in and being like, no, don't grab everyone. What are you doing? No. My boy, scientific method. You're going to grab people with similar symptoms and you're going to try something on them first. And then if that works, we can work on people with other symptoms. But for now, start with one group. You know, basically Kaladin is like, I have a drug here that I think will help the world. What if I give it to every disease? And his dad is like, let's start with prostate cancer. And then if that goes well, we can think about something else.
Right.
But we are not going to start giving this to fucking people who have Alzheimer's.
We're gonna start small. We're gonna start small and really do this properly.
And meanwhile, Kaladin's like, no, ivermectin's a miracle drug. Give it to everybody. It'll cure anything.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, that is basically this chapter. There's not a lot that happens in it. They're talking about their lives.
Yeah. And
not everybody is opening up, but at least everybody seems to be participating.
Yeah.
And that's a win. I think I consider that a win for sure.
Yeah. I do think that it is nice. It's a nice chapter and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Chapter 34. I feel like we've never gone through a chapter so fast, but it was a very short one.
It really was like, oh. And honestly, it was so short that I was like, oh, all right.
That's it. Oh, all right, cool. A flame never extinguished. So this is back in Shadesmar. We've got Adolin is not convinced that they are going to be approaching the honor spren in a way that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, because the honor spren went, hey, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Adolin, ever the good soldier, listens when people give him orders, and he goes, oh, okay, I should probably adapt.
Yeah.
Thank God they brought him, because the other Radiants are genuinely useless on this mission.
Adolin uses his brain.
Shallan is also useless. Like, Adolin is the only person on this mission of any value. He basically showed up with the Infinity Stones, and he was like, these are my Infinity Stones to let me in. Don't talk to them. They don't have any fucking clue what they're doing.
Oh my God.
But am I wrong?
I mean, Pattern knows what he's doing. I think.
Does he?
I have no idea. We'll find out.
I was just excited for, like, there to be, there was a part of me that was hoping that this section would be Adolin trying to bring the disparate opinions of the different Radiants together. You bring Radiants of different classes or guilds or whatever you want to call it together. What are they called? The branches of the Radiants.
Oh.
Like a Dustbringer,
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought he was going to have to kind of wrangle their different viewpoints.
The orders, yeah.
Orders, thank you.
Yeah.
That he was going to have to wrangle different viewpoints.
Yeah.
And then he's like, guys, what are we going to do? And they're all like, I don't know, the plan. I was like, oh, great.
Well, no.
We got Tweedledum, Tweedle2, and Tweedle3 over here.
What's his face is like, well, we should appeal to their honor.
That helpful.
It is.
Yeah, great.
That's, to be fair, though, that's where they should have started.
Thank God. You know what? At least the Spren have something going on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, they're working together. Radiant is like, there's no fucking way that Beryl is a spy. She can't hold her shit together.
Yeah.
She does want to be here. There's simply no way.
Yeah. Which, like, yeah, of course.
I know.
She's so scared. She's not that smart. You know what I mean?
Could be an act.
Yes, in the world of a book, it could be an act. Yeah, it could. But also,
Nerdy's
like,
not convinced.
Well, no, I just at no point was I like, oh yeah, Brandon Sanderson is gonna write that the prostitute shows up and is immediately a spy. That seems like something he would do.
He's like, nah, she's just kind of a normal person with magic powers, obviously, but
Yeah. And so, yeah, the stump is like no to everything, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Again, not someone I would want on like a diplomatic journey. She can't speak the same language as everybody else, and
oh, that is true.
She's been a Radiant for like 3 weeks.
No, there was a year time jump.
Yeah, but they went and found her during that. Like, it's not like she was a Radiant that whole time. Lift went and found her during the year. Right? And so she's been a Radiant for less than a year. I
actually don't know. Like after Lift left, she might have bonded her Spren. Like, it could be a hot minute.
My point is that the woman ran an orphanage in a small country and does not speak the language. And look, I think people who run orphanages are awesome people. Well, can be awesome people if you don't mistreat the children. She's not someone that I would be like, hey, run a diplomatic mission. You have experience in this, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, I change diapers, man. Like,
wait a minute. Isn't the person who runs the orphanage in Skyrim also called? No, never mind. That is not the stump. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways. Doesn't matter.
What an interjection.
Well, I just was like, that would be wild if Brandon Sanderson was like, I'm gonna name my character, like make my character after the orphanage lady from Skyrim.
But he didn't do that.
I don't think he did that.
Thank you for that.
It just took me a second to work it through.
The point that I was trying to make is that I just found the scene very funny to have like this one character who has no reason to believe that she can help this situation, has no like experience in her life that she should be like drawing upon to give an opinion. And she's like, no, that's a bad idea. No, not that. No. And Adelin's like, look, I appreciate your presence on this mission. Do you have anything to offer?
I mean, she's old. Some people think that that's enough. They're like, oh, you are an old person. You must be smart.
I'm sorry. Her name is Grelod the Kind.
Yes.
What part of the stump? How did we get here?
I said it wasn't the stump.
I know, but okay, never mind. I'm just saying it wasn't even close. I thought she was gonna also have some sort of like the tree or some shit kind of nickname.
No.
All right.
Yeah, they're not related at all.
I know that.
I'm glad we established that together. Notum comes over and is like, hey guys, I gotta turn around. See you later. And he rides away.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Nice to see him. I'm sorry. Adolin. Adolin's hanging out with Vale, and they're chatting, and he's like, hey, like, can I, like, talk to Shallan? And Vale's like,
you could try. That's a good question.
Okay. Does it feel at all to you like Shallan fell apart real fast? And is... Because...
What do you mean by fast?
I don't know.
They've been traveling for weeks.
I know. The book started with Shallan in a far more precarious position and doing a far more dangerous mission. and she seemed much more okay than she currently does. Like she is like fully just gone.
Because she learned that there's someone in her inner circle she can't trust.
Sure,
it's a pretty big revelation.
I feel like her completely falling apart because it's pattern would have hit harder if she hadn't been so gone already before it happened. It felt to me like Brandon Sanderson did a little bit too much with Shallan pulling back from everybody before the pattern reveal. So when the pattern reveal happens, it didn't feel like he left her far enough to pull back into herself for it to really be a gut punch.
Oh.
It sort of just felt like another thing on top of this thing that had been going on the whole time already.
Yeah.
And it kind of, because when the pattern reveal happened, it didn't really feel like Shallan emotionally had a lot of anywhere to go. Oh. Because she had already been spending like the last week not coming out, right? Like
I don't really agree, especially because like in the moment, like in moments before that, like Adelin's able to coax her out and like they look at the star spren. Like like Shallan is still there and present. I didn't really feel that way, that she had nowhere to go.
Interesting. Okay.
I thought it was a pretty like steady regression.
Yeah, I do think it was steady. Mm-hmm. I do agree that it was steady. I just think that because it was steady when the pattern reveal happened, it was continuing a trajectory. It wasn't a drop. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like he took a little bit of the sting out of it by having it already kind of had regressed to this point.
I mean, maybe, but if Shallan had been in a better place, maybe she would have dealt with it better, right? Like if she hadn't already been close to, we'll say rock bottom. I don't know for sure, but like, if she had been in a better place, then that reveal, she might have dealt with it differently.
I don't think so. I think that a betrayal as close as the spren that you're bonded to would always hit like a fucking truck. Right? Like, I don't think that that's just my personal feeling about it, I guess, then.
Yeah, I mean, there is also the question of, like, Pattern is not a human, and so I'm wondering if there is, like, some kind of misunderstanding and miscommunication between, like, species, and that, like, I'm, like, I don't know if it's, like, a true, like, betrayal from Pattern or what Pattern thinks there is to gain out of this. Like, what the fuck does Pattern get out of working with Moraes?
I agree with that. I don't see how it could be a miscommunication. Honestly. Like, I just don't see how it could be a miscommunication. Because Shallan brought up that someone was tampering with it, and Pattern lied to her face. It's not like she's been keeping this from Pattern, and when she finally reveals it to him, he just is like, oh yeah, I've been doing that. Was that a problem? Like, that would be a miscommunication.
Yes, but because the cryptics specifically deal with lies, what that means to Pattern versus what that means to Shallan are just so wildly different things.
Sure.
Like, I'm just very curious why Pattern is doing what he's doing and like where it goes from here.
I just think at this point we don't really understand what any of the Spren's goals are in any of this, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe like Syl is maybe the Spren whose opinion we have the most understanding of, but I don't think that we have much of an understanding over like because we understand that like the Spren, the sentient Spren,
mm-hmm.
do have goals and dreams and friendships and loves and things that they do have an opinion on the state of the world, and they do have a vision for what it would be in the future, but they don't really have the means of acting upon it often, and they don't really tell humans about it. So I don't really know why the Honor Spren are locked up. You know, we're going to go meet them, but even our characters who are bonded to Honor Spren don't know why the Honor Spren are doing what they're doing, right? It is sort of the same. It's the problem that I had with Fourth Wing, where except it's not a problem here because it's a very different situation, but where we kept being like, why are the dragons doing any of this? This is different, obviously, right? Because the Spren literally exist because they are the belief of humans, right? They are the creations of the orcs in Warhammer 40k, where their belief makes something real, right? But the Spren are so nebulous that like I have no idea what Pattern wants. I've never understood what Pattern wants. Pattern has been lying to Shallan since 10 years before the book started, right?
Yeah.
And if he's been lying to her for that long, why would he stop now? He clearly doesn't like care about telling her the truth. That's not something that Pattern gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Right? He's obviously more interested in his own goals, which he and Mraize have been, you know, he must know Mraize from back then. If Shallan has these memories of training with Pattern in the garden, and also these memories of talking to Mraize through the box in the garden, then either she's having memories that aren't real, she isn't the real Shallan, or she is the real Shallan, but she isn't the main. Shallan is an alter of whoever the like baseline personality is in this body.
Well, and we do know that there's like formless who we don't know anything about.
Or Pattern's just been lying the whole time and has no problem with that. That to me is the most dangerous for Shallan's mental state.
Yeah.
Right? I guess they're all dangerous for her mental state, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that we're supposed to know what any of the Spren really want at this point. Because even Syl is weird, right? Syl loses what she wants by getting too far away from Kaladin. Her goals and stuff are so tied to him, and her personality is so childlike that her goals are so immediate. She doesn't really have long-term vision in the way that I do think that Spren who live in Shadesmar do.
Well, the first time we kind of see her have that is when she was like, everybody's gonna leave. Like she has like this like kind of out of character, out of the blue, like depressive moment. Which, you know, I wonder if it truly came from her or if it came from Kaladin.
And she brings up her old knight for the first time.
Yeah. Like there are moments of that, but yeah, the Spren are like other beings, and so it is. Who knows what they want? Yeah.
Yeah. And Shallan. Before we get out of this chapter, I do want to call out. Shallan and Adolin have a cute conversation about their exes. And Shallan tells a story about Cabsel. And Adolin kind of reveals that he is insecure with his position within his father's expectation, right? And that he is struggling with that a little. And Shallan and him have a really sweet moment where she relates to him about his own thing for like the first time we've seen her do it maybe ever in the books. And I was like, oh, this is nice. They're in a real relationship.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Shallan have a moment of being there for Adolin. Because I was saying this in last week's book club, right? Where I was like, God, Adolin is always there for her and she never reciprocates it.
Yeah.
It's just this one-way relationship so often between the two of them. And I really appreciated this moment because I didn't want to feel like Adolin was getting the short end of the stick with her. And that because she was the protagonist, more of a protagonist than Adolin is.
That everyone would revolve around her.
Yeah,
fair.
It makes their relationship seem less real, right?
Yeah.
And so having this moment where it really is about Adolin and her relating to Adolin and comforting him through relating to him, I thought was I thought was just an important moment for their relationship in this book moving forward.
Yeah, I do love that. Like, Adolin was too young to understand euphemisms, and so he bought that girl a sword.
Yes. Yeah.
Very funny. He's like, yeah, I still have it. It's a great sword. Like,
it's just one of those funny things where it is such a funny joke, but it's one of those things that's weird about Roshar to me as a whole is how like nebulous Brandon Sanderson has made how sex positive this world is, just because it is the sort of joke that implies that there's a lot of people who are very sex positive and like premarital sex driven in this world, but that Adolin is prudish for a reason. And sexuality is so...
Why do you think he's prudish?
Because he didn't understand what giving her the sword meant.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't mean he's a prude. That just means he's naive. Like, you know, he hasn't had, like, boys his age to joke around with and, like, make... I think it's probably partially because he's Dalinar's son.
Sure. I understand that.
Yeah.
He's also a lifelong soldier, right? Like, the idea that he has managed to participate in soldiering for this long,
Mm-hmm.
if the culture is sex positive and is not super harsh against premarital sex, then it would be more common for him to have been around it more.
I think the reason it's not brought up is so that the reader can decide. Because I think Brandon Sanderson can reach a larger audience by not saying one way or the other, and
I agree 100%.
Yeah, having people insert their own beliefs.
I agree with you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he has intentionally left it to be completely blanked.
Yeah.
At the same time, because it is completely blanked, there is an element of the world that I'm like, what kind of society is this?
Yeah.
Right?
We also don't, like...
Is Adlin fucking all these girls, or is he not? It could be...
Who knows?
It could be zero,
yeah.
And it could be every single one, and I have no idea.
Yeah. And
Shallan, obviously, different. But
there's no, like, distinct differences really in those views between different, like, countries and cultures either. The only thing
because he doesn't talk about it at all.
Yeah,
There's no sexuality discussed outside of Dalinar and Navani's relationship, and that's because they're old and married.
Yes, exactly. Well, they get married.
But sure, but see, that's premarital sex. That is only a problem because she's Dalinar's sister-in-law.
Yes.
Like that's the only reason they bring it up to be weird.
Yeah.
Even though it seems like for the kind of society they have, that premarital sex would be a bad thing.
Yeah, I honestly I have no idea.
It is just it's fascinating because Mistborn hit that issue head on.
They did?
Yeah. Mistborn, we find out that Ellen raped a girl in the first book. Like, that's not a secret.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with premarital sex. And, courtship.
It does have to do with the kind of sex that it is acceptable for nobles to have in that world. Yeah, it is brought up. It is discussed. It isn't something that the series hid from. The sexuality of that world, despite being a little bit lacking between Ellen and Vin, in my opinion, I think it could have been their relationship could have been more intimate. Mm-hmm. It is at least some elements of it were brought up. I complained at the time that it was only the negative elements and that there was no positive form of sexuality in that series. But it is just, and this isn't me saying that it's good or bad either way.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating to me that Stormlight is so long and has so many relationships and is so devoid of any sort of conversation about, like, the desires of these characters. Shallan and Adlin have been married for a year. And the only thing we kind of know is that they fuck after when he's sweaty.
Shower. Yeah.
That a year in.
After they're already married, right? Like, during their courtship, they are, like, close and affectionate. But we have no idea how far that affection goes before they've actually gotten married.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Yeah, it's just I just found it I just find it interesting how little it's mentioned and how like unimportant it is to this vast world.
Other than pattern being like no mating.
Yeah. Right, but like where does that come from? It's
well, because Shallan tells him like you have to supervise us so that we don't get too horny.
Yeah.
Right?
Shallan tells him that though, right? Which is Shallan coming? Yeah, I don't know. I just find it fascinating. It's Stormlight Archive is so big, and Roshar feels like this world that is so like thought of in so many ways by Brandon. But then there's these like weird little things that I'm completely in the dark on, and I'm like, how does anyone feel about sex in this world? We're 4,000 pages in, and I have no idea, no idea at all. And that's whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 35.
Yeah.
The strength of a soldier. Wait, yeah, Seth Butler brings up Shallan tells him they need a chaperone, so that is a normal idea for her. But Adolin never has a chaperone on any of the dates we see him on in the first book.
I know, yeah.
He's always just alone with her doing fucking spy work. So is a chaperone a Yakaved thing? It's just it's never they never talk about that. This is why it's weird to me. I think sorry this took so long to get here, but I think I figured it out. They never talk about their relationship. We've never seen them do the work of being in a relationship, right?
What do you mean by that?
They are from different countries and while Alethi customs are predominant in Yakaved, they have different customs. The chaperone thing feels like a Yakaved thing. Adolin doesn't comment on that though. He's like, oh yeah, of course we have chaperones where we go on dates, and I'm like, but you didn't earlier. The differences between Yakaved and Alethkar to me, I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, it feels like they should be having these interactions about the differences between their lives that they never have, because Shallan is just sort of Alethi light.
Sure, yeah.
It's just interesting. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Chapter 35. We get Adolin and Shallan. They are getting ready to pack up and go.
Yeah. Adolin realizes that the people stopped following them. They've turned around.
He's told by his his little scout dude.
Yeah, and he's like, that's odd.
What is that guy's name? Felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, that's weird. Why would they stop following us now? And it's because they were not following Adolin. They were following Notum.
Yeah. I like that Adolin figured it out this way.
Yeah.
I like the... so much of the Adolin Shallan plot lines, the intelligent moments have been given to Shallan. And Adolin's always like, oh, she's so smart. I'm impressed with her. Mm-hmm. And so it was nice to give Adolin a moment of putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
And not always having it be Shallan that kind of does that work between the two of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Adolin gets it. Like, Adolin, is not always shown to be, like, the most brilliant character in a room, especially when he is around people like Shallan and Yasna and Dalinar. Mm-hmm. But, like, Adolin truly does his best to live up to the intelligence of the people around him who have taught him. He just utilizes it in his own way. Like, If Dalinar wasn't there, I think that Adolin would be a pretty respectable commander, right? For soldiers to follow and rally around and respect his decisions.
What do you mean if Dalinar wasn't there?
Like, if Dalinar had died earlier in the series and Adolin, as the oldest child, had to kind of take up the mantle of his father in a way. Like, I think that they're hard shoes to fill, but I think that Adolin...
Oh, I was confused. I was like, Adolin is already a commander. Like, he's already leading. No,
sorry. I mean, in terms of, like...
You mean he could have been at the top?
Yeah. And I think that he would suit that role very well.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely been groomed for it in a way that hasn't completely removed his humanity. And which also, some leaders do have groomed out of them, right? And they just kind of become flat. Adolin still has the emotional, like... ability to empathize with his own soldiers, which leads him to being a good leader.
Yeah, and also it hasn't removed his individuality. Like, he's not Dalinar clone, right? Not Dalinar light. He's Adolin.
And they would be a well-dressed army. Like, they would look good.
Yeah.
The changes to the uniform would be slick.
Oh, yeah. Slick and functional.
Yeah. Everyone's allowed to get a tapered fade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see it, honestly.
And so, Adolin turns on Gallant and takes off into the distance, riding his Rashadium hard, telling everyone to come after him, knowing that they're not going to be able to catch up.
The Gallant is so much faster than everybody else because there are magic horses. Now, okay, I have a question. Okay. Notum rides up on a horse-like creature.
Yeah.
Do you think that creature is a Rashadium Spren? because they make comments about how some of the spren have humanoid forms. So why would this one have a horse-like form? Yeah, the Legolas jump. Yeah, we did react to a bunch of chapters this week. So if you got gifted a membership, you can now go check those out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because Notum says humans aren't the only things that imagine spren or imagine things or whatever the line was. I immediately was like, oh, sentient spren must be able to imagine their own things. But the idea that it's actually the horses imagining themselves in Shadesmar is actually a really cool idea. I like that.
Well, because Galland also has the weird shimmer thing that Zeth has in the physical realm.
Yeah.
The shadow light when he moves.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that.
Where his soul is too lightly attached to his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that has to have some kind of implication.
Yeah, it's sort of a do a robot's dream of electric sheep kind of concept, right?
What?
What?
I've never heard that before.
What?
Do robots dream of electric sheep?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's the book that Blade Runner's based on?
I've never read Blade Runner.
Damn, babe. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I realize that, and I'm so sorry. Just means you can show it to me.
Wow.
All right.
Chad isn't surprised.
No. Chat, if anyone in chat is surprised, they don't know me at this point.
No, but it's the idea that, if we were to build an AI, my idea was, do robots dream of electric sheep, right? Could a spren become sentient enough that it's able to imagine its own spren, right? Whereas your version is this is just another creature. I love that you laughed as if I pulled that out of my ass, though.
No, I laughed because I thought it was funny because I'd never heard it before.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that's a funny idea. No, I was like, oh, that's
my
good.
idea was it's sort of the AI thing. Can we build an AI writers, right? Can we actually build an AI smart enough? Well, no, but this is the point I'm making. Can we build an AI sentient enough to genuinely write a new book? As opposed to just sort of put together a book based on other books.
Yeah.
Can we train an AI to be or not even train it, right? Can we create an artificial intelligence that is smart enough that it could actually write a book that we could consider to be copyrightable? Because right now books aren't copyrightable, right? If you write an AI book, then technically you don't own it.
Yeah.
Which is going to get really interesting if people can prove that someone's book is AI. Because they don't technically own the copyright to their novel, right?
Yeah.
Some people say that artificial intelligence will never get to that point, right? I disagree. I think it will.
Oh, yeah. You think that artificial intelligence is actually going to gain sentience?
Yeah. I think that
I don't know.
I don't see a reason why intelligence is locked behind gray matter. I think that
no, intelligence and sentience are I think are different.
To some degree, yes, and to some degree, no. I think that you can make something intelligent enough that it can start to have feelings. I do believe that. I think that I don't think we're anywhere near that right now, and I don't think that it's a kind of intelligence that we will. I don't think I will probably live long enough to see it, right?
No,
but I do think that and large language models are not that. I want to be really clear, right? In no way do I think that the large language models of the moment are intelligent in any way, right? They're just reiterative. I do think that we could make that kind of an intelligence in the future, though. And I think that we probably will.
I think we have to, I think we have to get there, understand life on a scale that I don't know if we can comprehend.
See, you say that, but we also understand life on a scale that 50 years ago would have been incomprehensible. And so the reason why I believe that it's possible, and I know there's a super chat. One second, I want to make this point, and then I'll read the super chat. The reason why I believe that it's possible isn't because I think that we have the technology, but because
that we have the tenacity,
the ability of humans to outpace our own understanding of what is possible is so vast that I do not doubt that the future will outpace my ability to understand the world right now. Right? And if AI is as strong as it is right now, and it is strong, as much as I don't enjoy it, or not even don't enjoy it, as much as I have never used it.
Yeah.
You know, I've never opened a chatbot. I've never touched it. I understand what it's capable of now, and I do believe that it, unless the energy requirements become such that we just simply can't do it.
Yeah.
I do believe that it will improve in a way where we will have things in the future that I can't fathom at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
If you had told me when I was a kid that I would have a cell phone that could video chat with someone in Japan in the moment in HD, and that would be something that I can do all day, every day for free, that I'm not paying for. If you had told high school me that I could text someone for free on the other side of the world and that I wouldn't pay per letter in my text messages, I would have been like, no one could ever afford that. Right? Like there's just things in which there's ways in which technology changes so fast, and it's changed so fast in my life that the idea that I could sit here and be like, we'll never figure it out. I don't know how. We are live on the internet right now, and there are people in Europe watching. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and explain how broadband exists. I don't understand how that light works. The idea that I'm going to sit here and be like, the AI's never going to get better than this. How the fuck could I know?
Yeah.
I don't even understand how it works now. You know what I mean? Like there's that level of, and so the point being to Rhythm of War is that I can imagine that they could imagine Spren so completely that Spren has its own ability to imagine something into existence, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand.
Chris Hazelden, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
Not always convinced humans have that. Yeah, so many humans are stupid. You're telling me that we can't make an AI smarter than like Americans? Come on.
Yes, I am. We make jokes about them being stupid.
Yeah.
But like,
because it's funny, and I love you Americans. I'm half American. I don't actually hate America.
But they like still have the capacity to make their own decisions, even if they've given that up.
They're talking about sentience in chat. Yeah, sentience. Animals have sentience. I understand that animals have sentience and AI doesn't right now. I'm just saying it could in the future.
James Ross, thank you for that super chat. Time to watch Ghost in the Shell again. I don't know. That might fuck me up, honestly.
Yeah. Seth Butler says, Nerdy, you should be using it to format documents for D&D. I did to turn my notes into something closer to a wiki page.
Or you could just
I don't
do it
need
yourself.
to like. Yeah, I don't need.
You don't need to like
to
throw
use AI.
out 7 buckets of water
Yeah.
to do that.
I'm concerned about the energy implication of using AI to slightly speed up something that I can just do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten real lazy.
Yeah.
As a society.
Or efficient, right? And like the problem is that we're trading energy efficiency for human efficiency, and because of the state of global warming, I don't know that that's a trade-off that we should be making.
Yeah, but the problem is human efficiency also is directly tied to the more that we make our time more efficient, we actually make our brains less efficient and our bodies less efficient because we become stagnant. And so is it actually more efficient to not work out our muscles, our thinking muscles, our physical muscles? Like, is that actually more efficient?
Okay, we need to get back to the book and get off this, but my pushback on that is that if you are using it for menial tasks that are taking up time, that give you an opportunity to spend more time on tasks that actually push you mentally, the argument could go the other way.
People don't do that.
But they do, right? No, but they are.
Some of them.
No. That is very unfair. And I will very much push back on this.
If people are just using AI to write an email that they could have written themselves, they are taking away the cognitive work to do that. But why probably not using it towards something else.
But how is that cognitive work? It's writing a template email. If you're using it for, there's a number of ways in which you can use AI to input data into spreadsheets faster than a human could ever possibly do it.
Yeah,
That is just tedious.
Sure.
There's no cognitive work.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
That's a resource drain. But so emails can be the same on like a business scale where you're just typing out the same email slightly different 70 different ways. What is the purpose in doing that? You know what I mean? I understand the argument that there are efficiency ways in which you can get time for your brain to do more valuable things. Mm-hmm. The question is the energy efficiency and the use of that energy, the amount of water that's wasted to cool these data centers, worth not writing those emails? Not is it... Because if you're using AI to then vegetate and not do anything, I agree with you. But if you're using it to get rid of the tasks that are non-valuable so that you can spend more time on the tasks that are, I disagree with you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure. And you just have to trust people to regulate within themselves. And like you said, people are not smart and don't do that.
Yeah. Chris Hazelin, thank you for that super chat. I take energy to run too. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, energy is used no matter what, but the amount of energy that we're using to make AI run is going to destroy the planet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We need to move on. This is chapter 35. We don't know where the radiant horse comes from, is what that entire AI conversation was about. Shalon! Shalon is checking on the cube. And she puts some flour on it, or I don't know, some dust, whatever.
That is very, 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 very thin.
And then takes off after Adolin, we're back with Adolin.
She's like, "Hey, Pattern, can you watch the camp?"
Yeah, Pattern's useless in a fight. Come on, he's too lanky.
What the fuck is Pattern gonna do?
Pattern is like a basketball player. You know what I mean? Like they are athletes, but if you look at them, they don't look like athletes sometimes. Like, look at Victor Wembanyama and tell me that man looks like an athlete.
Sure.
He's so thin and lanky, but then you watch him play basketball and you're like, oh, no, I get it. He's so fucking tall and he's really good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe next season when he comes back from his blood clot problem, he will have the musculature.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Oh, my God. Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's like a side effect of him being as tall as he is.
Well.
You're likely to have them. And they're high risk.
Yeah.
The thing is, if he can figure it out, he might end up being like one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And so like really, he's like 22 or something. Mm-hmm. Really hoping he comes back strong next season because it would be very sad for the sideline injury to sideline what could be a really remarkable career for the young man who seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, underscore, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat.
We have already started incorporating AI into our emails for business use to quickly summarize long email chains. Yeah, it's going to happen, and there's only so much we can do about it.
No, I'm sorry. You know what drives me nuts is that I will get a text that is maybe 2 sentences.
Yeah.
And instead of now showing me the beginning of the text when I open messages, it gives me an AI summary of what it's about.
What?
Yeah. It gives me a summary.
Because you updated your phone.
I guess. We are way overusing this. I literally will open a text that is 2 sentences long and it will try and give me a summary. And I'm like, I can just read that actually myself. Yeah. It's fine. I understand what this says. And same in Instagram. Instagram will be like, do you want our meta AI to summarize this for you? And it's a message like maybe this long. Yeah. It's not even that long. People are getting so fucking lazy. They can't read 3 sentences and they need meta AI to summarize it for them.
Well, open any tweet on Twitter and someone will have asked @Grok, explain this to me. No matter how simple an idea it is.
Oh yeah, it's so fucked. We are so fucked.
Chris Hazelden, thank you for that super chat. Water to grow crops I eat and energy to harvest and transport it. Chris Hazelden, I think that you need to understand.
Yes, but you need to live. You don't need to use AI.
And I think that I don't want to fight about the amount of water being used. No, I'm saying that I would like to talk about the book.
Sure.
I don't want to keep going over this.
Sure.
Those things are not equivalent, and they just aren't.
You will die without food and water. You won't die without AI.
Yeah. No, but
Just so you know.
I hear you. My favorite thing is that there's like AI summaries of our YouTube videos, and it's like Nerdy and Claris react to the show, and I'm like, yeah, that's what the title of the fucking YouTube video is. Thanks, AI.
I know. It's like
it's a fucking reaction video. Who needs that explained to them?
We are so fucking cooked. Like we are genuinely so fucked.
Okay, I don't care anymore. Adolin is fucking riding into battle. This chapter is so cool. Can we please talk about it?
Absolutely.
This chapter is great. Adolin rides into battle to save Nodum. And as he's riding up, he's thinking about the fact that Spren can't really die. They can just kind of be tortured until they don't have sentience anymore.
Which is insane. But yeah that's so fucked.
We humans can die, but you can also torture us so we don't have sentience anymore. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Or sapience. I think sapience is the word I mean to use there.
Yeah.
And so he's like, not on my fucking watch. I may not be a Radiant yet, but I have more honor than most people in these books, particularly Yasna. And so he rides into town, and he is all out of chewing gum. So he starts whooping ass. And as he's whooping ass, he tells Maya, take Gallant, get out of here. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And Maya's like, all right, bet. And so as Adolin is whooping ass, suddenly he feels someone on his back. And he's like, how did they get so close? And he turns, and it's his goddamn Spren.
Yeah.
She's got a sword. And they start doing a kata together.
Kata!
The settlers of Kata. And scaring the shit out of the Tukari.
Uh-huh.
It is so sick. Can we just talk about how this is so sick?
Yeah. This fight scene is banger.
This is one of those moments where I'm like, this would be so much better in animation than live action.
True.
Like this, the world of Shadesmar to me, just in general, will not look good in live action. I just don't believe that it will.
I think it'd be really tough, yeah.
I think it would be so hard to pull off Shadesmar in live action.
Yeah.
But in like the ability to like over exaggerate the scratches on her eyes and things in animation would be so sick as they're doing this together.
Yeah. I weirdly imagine like the Maya scratching like to be like they use this effect in Arcane often with Jinx and the like scratchy like lines and stuff like that. That's what I picture when 100%. I like when they describe her eyes.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's it really is. It comes together so well. This long story of Aelin's relationship with his sword, going back all the way to, going back to the beginning of the series, but really to Words of Radiance, where I think that this really started, right, with the moment before the arena where he's talking to his blade, after they have KFC before the fight, and
what?
They're him and Renarin are like, we eat chicken, we talk to our sword, and then we fight.
Oh. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah.
And so they get into this fight. Adolin, the whole time Adolin is like, I can't fight off 19 people. I don't have shard plate.
Yeah.
You know, if he had his shard plate, this would have been
right?
fucking nothing for him.
He just has to hold out until reinforcements arrive.
That's what he thinks. But then once they're all scared from the kata, and once Gallant is back kind of like being a presence in the fight, Adolin is able to win. He takes a sword or a spear to the gut, so he is dying. But everyone else rides up, and Adolin is there clutching Nodum. A few people have fled. A bunch of Tukari are dead. And he fucking wins because of the strength of a soldier.
Nailed it.
It felt a little bit like every time Vin Diesel says family. Where he's like, never doubt the strength of a soldier.
And then they crack open a Corona.
Maya. Yeah. Shallan rides up with a bucket of Coronas.
Yeah.
You never doubt the strength of a soldier.
So, do you have any theories as to why the Tukari are attacking this honor spren? Because the only thing that we really know about these people is that one of the heralds is mad and is their king and is not on Dalinar's side. And so, do you think that they are like? Do you think it's possible that because they're basically on the side of odium, that these people are trying to stop, kill, or murder honor spren before they can bond a person, so that there are less windrunners?
Here's the thing. I hope that's what it is. Because I don't want it to get more I don't need another plot line. So I hope it is. I genuinely, this was my first thought of this. God, I hope this is related to something we are already in the middle of and not something new.
That's fair.
And
that's fair.
I don't know what that says about my enjoyment of the book. That when new plot lines are brought up, I like feel tired.
You're like, Jesus Christ, I hope that this matters.
But that I'm like genuinely like, Brandon, please let this be like the Maya thing, relevant to something that has already been happening. I just don't need it to be, because I think last week when they were like, yeah, there's new Deadeyes, I was like, oh, I'm tired.
Fair.
So I'm hoping that you're right, and this is related to the war and not some new squabble that we have to learn about. Also, are the mods fighting? Is everything okay in chat?
No. No, mods are not fighting. We're good.
All right. All right. Yeah, no, genuinely, my first thought in this moment was, God, I hope this is not another new thing. Yeah. Or maybe it's related to the new Deadeyes, which would be fine, because then at least it's related to something that's been brought up before. But if this is the second new plotline introduced in Shadesmar, I will lose my mind.
Yeah, maybe the Takari are just like riding around Shadesmar, like murdering any spren that could potentially bond a human, and that's how that Deadeye of the friend, the cryptic became a Deadeye as well.
No, the Deadeyes can only become Deadeyes by having their bond broken, by the oath broken.
We're 100% sure on that?
Yeah, because they said that if you get killed the other way, you become like a Deadeye, but not a Deadeye.
Oh.
Like the Nodum, if Nodum had been tortured into lack of sapience, he would have become like a Deadeye.
Maybe because the king is a herald.
Yeah.
He has a secret method for making them Deadeyes. Maybe.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah. If they have some technique. I don't know why they wouldn't have just used that technique, why they would be beating him. But,
yeah, I don't know. It's possible. I don't know how likely it is. But yeah, I'm just wondering if you had any.
I don't.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna lie. With how out of left field some of the twists in Stormlight are, I feel like I've kind of been worn down into just not trying to guess anymore.
It is very difficult, I feel like, to predict things. Like, I don't know the last time we predicted anything in Stormlight.
Because I just don't know.
It's so complicated.
And it could be anything. And like sometimes you're like, oh, this is going to be related to this plot and this plot and this plot. And then they're like, oh no, it's just a new plot. And also, it's a new plot that we're not going to touch for the rest of the book, and it'll maybe come up next book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact that the heralds have been found, and that they have heralds in camp, like, if Yasna never talks to them again this book, I won't be surprised. If she talks to them 17 more times, I won't be surprised. Where are those heralds now? I don't know. They, like, walked into a meeting. I think
they are along for the ride.
But are they along for the ride in the Urithiru stuff, or are they along for the ride in Imul? I don't know.
I can't remember actually where they went.
They will come back into the book when they come back into the book. That might be in 700 pages.
Yeah.
And so because there's so much going on, and some of it is so deeply connected and some of it is very much not, and plotlines can be literally anything in this series. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they will not exist anymore after the book is over, even though they weren't finished. Stormlight, I just like, I feel like theorizing in this series feels impossible.
It does feel very difficult because I feel like I could just say shit and like it might be right.
Oh, I could invent 1,000 things.
Yeah.
Right.
There's also like I think the biggest difference in terms of predictions, but between like Wheel of Time and this is that they don't. Brandon Sanderson doesn't really use prophecy. So there's not like a thing for us to like pick apart and be like, ooh, maybe this relates to this or whatever it is. Which is probably a positive for you. I know prophecy has to be used very specifically for you to think that it's like worth being in the book, which I think is fair. Well,
and even like we'll get to it obviously at the end of today, but the diagram gets really interesting at the end of today, right? Because we find out like how it functions within Odium. For me, the theorizing of like I there's no part of the first two books that led up to the Everstorm that would have made me be like, there's going to be a second storm going the opposite direction.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am so tired just trying to keep it all in my head. Trying to come up with something new is hard.
I feel like your what's the I feel like you were pretty close with what happens in the tower in this book.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second though, because someone was like, "Oh wow, he knows about Die Hard. He's been spoiled," and I was like, "Kaladin's staying. Everyone else is leaving, and we know they're invading."
Yeah,
like,
they deleted their comment.
I know, but
because they were like, "Oh yeah, that was dumb."
The idea that I would get spoiled, but the book had already told me that they were going to attack, and everyone else had left. I
know.
Die Hard is the most famous movie in the world. Like it's not like I referenced a specific movie that is about depression and a guy who's too depressed to function ending up in part of a combat in a tower. I referenced Die Hard. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking referencing Die Hard is like referencing Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're gonna be fighting an empire in space. Yeah. That's like Star Wars. And being like, oh, he's spoiled.
I just mean that was a solid prediction.
I don't feel like that was a prediction. That was just me being like, this is what the book is telling me is going to happen.
Well, I didn't know because I'd never seen Die Hard.
But then I also thought that prediction was wrong because I was like, oh, Kaladin's too depressed to be John. Oh my God, what's his fucking character's name?
So we Kevin McAllister the shit and it turns into Home Alone.
But that's not true either, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, she
well,
kind of...
maybe Navani works with Robina and is able to rig some traps. Maybe.
And maybe that is what happens.
I don't know.
But they invaded the tower. We need to get to that. How far into book club? We're at an hour and 12 minutes. We got to move, babe. We got to move.
We good. We
anyway,
Gucci.
I want to be really clear, y'all. I want to be just the clearest I've ever been. I am so unspoiled on this that I am like genuinely grateful for how unspoiled I am on this because these books are long, and if I was spoiled, this would be a shitty experience.
I think it would be tough, yeah. Being like, I know where this is going, I see where this is going, and I have to get through all this text to get there.
And also, like, we have in the past on this show been so clear about stuff that's like when you got spoiled about the Galad thing.
Yeah.
In Wheel of Time, we just said that we were spoiled on it.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll just tell you guys.
I don't feel any need to like pretend.
No.
There are people who think that we are spoiled and
I mean, you spoil me.
Well, yeah. that we're spoiled and using that to make ourselves seem smarter. And like, what would the value of that? I don't care what people think. I don't care if they think I'm smart. The majority of the comments are that I'm dumb. Like if I was spoiling myself, like reading ahead to lie to the audience.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked in the last 4 years.
We've been really bad at it.
Like, people think that you're right about everything and I'm a fucking idiot. And they've been saying that in comments for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Why would I spoil my reading experience to continue to get comments about how I'm a fucking idiot and I don't understand anything? Yeah. What would the value of that be for anybody?
I don't know.
I don't know why I would waste my time.
Yeah, that's so much effort. We have no extra time in our days. We literally are so busy that we do not have the time to read ahead and then pretend like we haven't read it or something.
Why would I ruin this experience for me to try and convince like 12 people on the internet that I'm smarter than I am? It's just I don't know. The like conspiracy theories around book club to me it's very few people, and I know that it's very few people, but I just think it's very funny that people think that we've read these books before.
There are over 100 people here right now, and I just want to say thank you for being here.
No, there's a lot of people here. I mean, the people who think that the conspiracy theorists about us reading ahead and then lying about it.
Oh yeah, it's not that many people. Yeah.
The idea that I would spend so much time and effort to ruin my own experience of these 3 hours on book club.
Yeah.
So that there's like these 12 conspiracy theorists are wrong is just so
There's
it's
also
so
like
wild.
There's also no way that I could ever lie on the internet because I don't remember what I've said to you. So
you have to be honest.
I have to be honest always because I won't remember what information I've put out there.
Anyway, Talon Ramel, I'm not saying there's 12 of you watching. I'm saying there's like 12 people who think that we're lying about how much we know about these books.
Yeah.
And I think that this sitting here and trying to lie for 3 hours about how much I know would be so exhausting.
Yeah. I don't have the time or energy for that.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
There's just better ways to spend our time.
Yeah. Chapter 36.
We're halfway through 36 right now.
You're right.
Or no, we're not. No, sorry, right at the beginning. Vale comes back, and she checks the box, and the dust has been removed, which means Pattern's probably the spy.
Yeah, because no one else was left in camp.
But we learned our lesson last time. Can't take our first piece of evidence. So what are we going to do? We're going to go talk to Pattern. And we're like, hey, Pattern, I remember this day in the garden. You were there. And Pattern's like, yeah, I was there. And she's like, fuck, Pattern's lying to us.
Yeah, I totally remember that now. Definitely 100%.
Fuck, Pattern's lying to us.
But that's why I'm like the way that Pattern says it.
Yeah.
And the way that Pattern understands lies. Like, Pattern might be like, oh, we're telling a story. Yes, I totally remember that. I believe that's it. Like, I just don't, Pattern is fascinating to me. And so I just don't want him to be bad.
Sure. I don't know that he's bad.
No.
I think that he's being manipulated.
That's simplistic, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he's being manipulated by Mraize.
Yeah, it's possible. Or by Formless. Like, I know we haven't seen Shallan, Veil, and Radiant lose any time, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Especially with the drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
The only question I have about it, though, is would Formless have... Shallan is the... Who can use Stormlight in their altars is very interesting.
Oh, Veil is worse at it.
Well, I don't think Veil can use Stormlight, right?
She can. She could clear the... One of them can't?
I think one of them can't use Stormlight, or can't, use their talents.
No, I'm pretty sure Veil is just much worse at it.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
But the point being that, who actually has the oath to Pattern? And if one of the altars were to break their oath, right? Does that mean that Shallan broke her oath?
Oh,
It's an interesting question.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, Pattern sucks now.
No.
Pattern's the worst.
I'm not convinced yet.
We might have to Deadeye Pattern.
No, what the fuck?
Yeah. We can't rely on him.
I will fight for Pattern.
Even if he's working with Mraize, the man who's excitedly hunting a
he's just a little
15-year-old
guy.
girl.
Pattern's just a little guy. He doesn't get it.
Damn, okay.
I am
Cloris
Team Pattern.
thinks that adult men should hunt teenage girls. That's confirmed.
That is
a
leap.
Cloris is pro men hunting young girls.
That is a leap.
That is what you have heard here. And she thinks that their accomplices should be fought for as they hunt young girls.
I didn't say I was Team Mraize. I said I was Team Pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Pattern knows what's going on at the tower?
Work?
Yeah.
If you're on the team, you're on the team.
Yeah.
You're not on the person. That's called
but how do you know
relations.
Mraize and Pattern are on the same team?
Because they're lying to Shallan together. Maybe
Pattern is doing it to get information that Mraize wouldn't give Shallan.
Sure. Maybe. I'm just saying Mraize is hunting a teenage girl, and you condone that action. Adolin rides up to Lasting Integrity, and he's like, open the gates. I'm here.
Right. They ride out. The Honorsmen come out, and they take the letters, and they just rip them up. And they're like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here.
We don't want anything. Taking the letters would imply that there's anything you could say that would change our mind, and there isn't. And then Adolin is like, you have defied my honor. I demand trial by trial.
Yeah.
I really thought he was going to demand trial by combat. I really did. I was like, oh, okay. We're going to do a trial by combat thing.
That might be an honor thing. I could see that.
It just feels very fantasy.
Game of Thronesy, yeah.
And he's like, I demand trial by trial.
Yeah, put me on trial, bitch.
And
But don't put me on trial for the other Radiants. You put me on trial for me, and if I deserve to be treated like the other Radiants, because you already know what they did, but you don't know what I've done. Although I did kill Sadeas, so that might be brought into evidence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But is that dishonorable?
Well,
is it?
So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what he's going for.
Uh-huh.
I do.
Look, I don't think Adolin's thought this all the way through.
I don't think he has either.
But he's like, I gotta do something. I literally can't leave.
I think it's that smart.
It's the only option. It is what I assumed we were headed towards because it seemed like the only option.
I know, and it is the
that,
only option
justice
because
is honorable.
He's treating his dead eye friend well. Like, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just an element of somebody riding up to a situation where they're like, hey, like, your people, in general, kill our people when you break your oaths. And Adolin being like, I individually would like for you to judge whether or not you should bond my people based on me individually.
No, he says that you need to... The way that you are treating me is based off of what the Radiants did, not what I've done. And so I would like to come into your city and you should hear me out because I am not those people.
Right. And I totally understand that. I get that. But to the end of, okay, you're chill, Adolin. What do you want? Oh, we want you to come bond a bunch of other people who weren't also on trial.
We would like for the Honorspren to consider finding people to bond.
Yeah, again, the trial won't prove anything for that, though. Like,
no, but he's in the city now. I don't think that the trial is going to be the be-all end-all of what comes out of this decision. Him being in the city is what matters, right? If they get stopped at the gates, there's nothing they can do. Adolin found the only way to get into the city to potentially make his case.
Yes, I understand that. If I was the Honorspren, I would have been like, we don't have to let you in. Like, it just doesn't, like, there's...
Well, they kind of do because they're like, oh, honor, right? We got to do honor or shit.
But what? But, like, they don't have to do anything.
Yeah, if someone demands a trial.
If someone shows up at the Canadian border and is like, you think I'm a bad guy. You think my people were bad a long time ago, but you have to let me in the country. The Canadian government can still just go, no, we just don't want you here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have to let him in. They could just be like, no, we're not going to do that. Have a nice day.
But if they walked up to the border and was like, a crime was committed, I would like to be put on trial to prove it wasn't me.
But
that actually seems like they kind of have to take you into custody. If you're like, there was a crime.
This is such a, like, Adolin didn't do anything. And so obviously he's going to win because it's the dumbest trial of the century. You can't prove that he's related to it in any way, shape, or form.
Which is why he knows he's going to win.
I know, but win and then but then the next step past that is what? What could it possibly be?
Look, he got in the city and through the gates. That was the next step. Now we got to figure out what the next step after that is.
I just think that if what this turns into, which is what I'm worried about a little bit, is that he's so honorable in his trial that he wins and the Honorspren are like, well, you're so honorable. We're going to go bond a bunch of people that aren't you. I'm going to be like, this is weirdly dumb.
No, I don't think it's going to have to do with that. I think it's going to have to be... I think it is going to have a lot more to do with... like with Maya and Notum and like understanding that not all humans are the same and therefore they shouldn't discount all the humans because of the Radiants in the past, or the Honorspren keeping some crazy fucking secret about...
Sure, and that's the direction I think it's gonna go.
Yeah, about why the oaths were broken.
But like, yeah. Either the Honorspren...
I have a question. Okay. Do the Spren know? Mm-hmm. Do the Spren know that the oaths were broken because the Radiants found out that they were invaders and dishonorable?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Do the Spren know that the recreants happened because humans invaded and like overthrew the singers?
Yes.
The Honorspren know this. Because
everyone found out on the planet a year ago, so like I would imagine they know.
Yes, however, the Honorspren have locked their gates and they don't let anybody in or out. So do they have this information?
Yeah, they have to.
I don't know. Okay. They might not.
Here's the question that I have. Mm-hmm. There are new Deadeyes, which means that humans are currently breaking their oaths.
Potentially, yes.
I don't know what Adolin can possibly say in a trial about nothing. That the trial isn't related to any event.
No, the trial is to literally get Adolin through the door.
I understand that. Why did they? I just don't get why they agreed to it.
The Honorspren had to because it would be the honorable thing to bring someone to justice when they ask for justice, right? It's an honor thing. It's stupid. Honor is really stupid sometimes. The concept of honor, kind of dumb sometimes.
I loved the idea of this until I really thought about it. And I was like, the honor spread are literally like, yeah, we, the guards in front of this city, will take you into the city so that you can stand trial to prove that you are not related to an event that you are clearly not related to.
Yeah.
Feels...
Yeah, because they are treating him as though he is related to it.
I just feel like...
And he says, you can't judge me on their merits.
If the next scene is Adolin gets taken into, like, whatever the hearing is at the beginning of a trial, and those two guards walk this human in, and the judge is sitting there, and he's like, what is this? And the guards are like, he demanded a trial about whether or not he personally is related to the killing of the spread 2,000 years ago. The judge would be like, why the fuck did you bring this... Take him away. He didn't do anything. We know he didn't do anything. That's not what this is about. None of this is about whether or not this guy did anything. Mm-hmm. That's not why we're upset. I didn't like the trial. I love everything about the Aelin plotline until they're like, yeah, we'll take you to trial. I don't get it. I don't get what's going on at all. I'm going to be 100% honest. I just don't get this plotline.
All right.
I don't know what this trial could possibly be. Like, Aelin's like, I wasn't there. We know it was 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It did happen. Aelin wasn't related to it.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't want to fucking become Spren because we might die. And there are currently Deadeyes being created right now somehow. We don't care that you weren't there. Like, that isn't relevant to what is happening in the world, in our world. That isn't relevant to our lives and the fact that we don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
You not being present for an event that did happen, like, you can't prove it didn't happen. You can't... Aelin doesn't have enough information...
He's not trying to prove it didn't happen.
I know, but he can't prove anything. Aelin can't change the situation.
That's why he's like, you have to judge me by my merits. Don't lock me out of the city.
But Aelin doesn't have the right to be in the city. Right? Being allowed into the city is just at the whim of the people who own the city.
Mm-hmm.
So they just could say, like, well, you're just not allowed in the city.
Yeah, so he got them to let him in.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We just need to move on. I think this trial is... It's nebulous and, like, it's two guards who do not have the clearance to agreeing to something that I don't think makes any sense.
Wait, you thought they just sent out random people and random people tore up those letters? No. They know exactly why they're there. They sent out people who, like... have the authority to bring them through the gates.
This is a dumb conversation.
And tear up those letters.
I think that when we get to Brandon Sanderson, we'll make this make sense for me.
Sure.
Right now, I thought it was like, I was like, why would these honor spren give a shit about his honor? Why would they care at all?
Because that's the only thing they can care about is honor, because they are honor spren.
But then you could make any demand of them at any time by claiming that it's about honor. Well,
you have to convince them it's about honor, right? But yeah.
I guess this is what it is. I don't understand why Adolin's honor is being particularly tarnished by the fact that human beings did a thing that everybody knows that they did.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll get there. Chris Hazelden says, setting case law precedent. Yes, but good judges know to just not take the case if it's going to set a precedent that might be bad. That is quite literally how judges are able to protect the legal system from bad precedent.
All right.
Yeah. The Supreme Court will literally be like, we're not going to touch this because if we take this case and we set a precedent with it, it could have ripple effects.
Wait, so people can do illegal things as long as the judges don't want to take it to court?
No. No. The Supreme Court doesn't deal in like people who have like broken the law in that sense. Like if you break a law, then the chances of it making it to the Supreme Court, how do I want to explain this? The Supreme Court doesn't like put people in jail. That's not their job, right?
Okay.
They basically rule on cases where the law needs to be either examined more deeply or clarified or expanded upon because someone is arguing that the law that is being broken is unconstitutional or being used incorrectly, right? Like when like they the people who were arguing that they should have the right to get gay married weren't going to jail. They weren't going to prison for what they'd done. They were going to the Supreme Court to make a legal argument to the court that gay marriage shouldn't be illegal. And that usually starts with someone breaking the law to start that process, but it isn't like the judges can be like, you murdered someone, but I don't want to set precedent. The murder precedent has been set. It's usually in places where precedent is unclear or where someone is arguing that the law isn't right at that point, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want to argue that a law is not correct, the Supreme Court can be like, no, we're not going to see this case because we don't think that, because we don't like it, like because we
because
think
we don't want to set a precedent around it. Yeah.
So then what happens when laws are unjust? If the Supreme Court won't see it?
Basically, the way the system works is that the lower courts will make judgments, but their precedent is overruled by a precedent that is set by the Supreme Court at a later date or at an earlier date.
So if someone was like, I want to get gay married, and went to the court, and the court was like, yeah, you can get gay married, and the Supreme Court come in and be like, no, we don't want that.
Essentially, like, the Supreme Court did that, right? And they were like, we don't want to, before, obviously, 2015, there were cases where they allowed for states to allow gay marriage, but not federally. And then the court case in Obergefell in 2015 was the one where the Supreme Court made it federally legal in every state for people to get gay married. But prior to that, they had basically allowed states to have gay marriage, but not the federal government, not at a federal level.
I didn't realize the Supreme Court could choose to not take cases because they didn't want to change laws.
They choose to not. They have to choose to not take cases constantly because they get too many cases. Something like, I think they got like 30,000 petitions for cases last year or something like that. It was crazy. So they the Supreme Court chooses what cases it takes.
That's insane.
And what it feels is important enough for it to set precedent.
And we trust these people?
Questionable.
That seems insane.
That's how the system works. It used to be fairly strong. Now it's a little nebulous. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, it doesn't affect us. We live in Canada, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Damn. Anyways.
Yeah. We trust some of them. Yeah, no, the Supreme Court.
We used to trust these people.
It's an imperfect system. I don't know. You know, I'm not smart enough to imagine a better one, right? Like I'm not. Without going straight into dictatorship, it's really hard to have. It's really hard to build a legal system around. But the complexities of like the nuances of laws.
But the Supreme Court is not elected.
Yes, that's true.
So how do we trust these people?
Welcome to American life.
That seems like a terrible plan.
Yeah, and they have hearings before the Senate. The Senate has to vote them in. So they are elected by the Senate. They're not elected by nobody. And so the President of the United States nominates someone.
Yeah.
That person then goes through a process through the Senate. They lie a bunch to the Senate about things that they're never going to touch, that they will absolutely touch. And so if they lie to the Senate enough about their legal positions, they become Supreme Court people.
But why would things be required to be untouchable? That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
What do you mean required to be untouchable?
Yeah, I'm not going to touch this. Like as a.
It's actually the opposite. It is that if we were to lay down a very clear, you're thinking about it the wrong way. So, and it's because I explained it poorly. It's not you. So the Supreme Court doesn't want to set explicit precedent about situations that it wants lower court judges to have some wiggle room on. Because once the Supreme Court sets something, the lower court judges have to defer to that decision every time.
Even if the circumstances are different.
Yes. And so the idea of...
then how is that law? Like,
because the judges have to make some decision. These cases are so complicated that sometimes somebody has to make a choice, right? And the Supreme Court doesn't want to take cases that it feels will burden judges with choices that they have to go with, even if they are no longer safe for that case. right? And so they try to stay out of situations where they would be setting a precedent that would overly impact society. At least that's the way they did it for a long time. Now they're overly impacting society in a lot of cases that...
Yeah.
But, you know, even cases that people think probably I wouldn't agree with, I do agree with the Supreme Court on, right? Like, I think that they have a really tough job. I don't think it's easy what they do. Mm-hmm. And I do sympathize with some of their decision making. I do wish they weren't as corrupt as Clarence Thomas is. But that is a thing.
I know who that is.
But the reality of it is, like, they are not trying to not take cases because they don't want there to be rules. They're trying to not take cases that they feel like if they make a decision on, that decision will overly impact society in too big of a way. Which comes back to the Stormlight Archive.
Wait, sorry, they didn't think that overturning Roe v. Wade would impact society in a huge way?
They wanted to do that one. No, they get a bunch of little things that they don't want to do all the time.
Oh, I was like, that seems like a pretty huge impact to everybody across the country.
No. They despite the fact that every single one of the people that Trump nominated said that Roe v. Wade was settled law, and they all lied in their Senate hearings, they all voted to get rid of Roe v. Wade. That one they did want to do. They get a bunch of dumb things that are like there was a case last year that was about like Maine fishermen having to pay. This is a weird thing to talk about today because the Supreme Court just like banned LGBTQ books in libraries and things today. They just limited judges' abilities to put in national injunctions. Today is a bad day if you're a follower of the Supreme Court for us to be talking about it because a lot of important things happen and I'm not up to date on all of them. But
and that's like I'm sitting here being like, well, yeah, these people. Why do we trust these people? What kind of a system is this?
Yup. Can we talk about Rhythm of War?
Yeah. Damn. Okie dokie. Anyways, Adolin goes to get judged. And we get to the next chapter. Wow.
And he takes Shallan and Pattern in with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, he can't take everybody. He can only take some people.
I would have, personally... Oh, no, Nodum was exiled. When he didn't take Nodum, I was like, Nodum's dying.
Well, I definitely thought, that they
medic.
Took him to help get
Can we get a doctor for Nodum?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Chapter 37, Silence.
We won't go to any other plot line. We are now in Urithiru for the rest of the day.
Yes.
So we won't be talking about the Supreme Court anymore.
The epitaph?
I can never remember.
Fuck. Sazed's been chatting to us through the beginnings here, and we're affirmed on the idea that the shard and the vessel for the shard are two separate things.
Epigraphs.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I was like, it's gonna be the wrong one. I know it. Interesting implications for what that means for Odium. We're learning that Odium, the vessel for Odium, seems to have been overtaken by the shard.
Yeah.
Because these people knew the vessel beforehand, so I guess they would know.
But also that the vessel wasn't a great guy before.
Oh, really? Was that I missed?
Well, this one is you seem more afraid of the you seem more afraid of the vessel. I warn you that this is a flaw in your understanding. So, like...
Right.
Like, Hoyd... I think Hoyd was there when Adonasium
was split. Right. And is like, ooh,
and
the guy
knew
who got
the guy
Odium,
who became Odium and didn't like him.
Shady as fuck, man.
But Hoyd... Basically, throughout the epigraphs, Sazed is making the argument that over time the shard exerts more influence over the vessel than the other way around.
Yes, and also that Odium it goes against everything Odium's is to like take those other shards for himself, and so he will come and destroy the rest of them.
Yeah,
is the idea.
Jim Finn, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
Finally listening live again. #teacher summer.
Hell
oh my
yeah.
god.
Welcome in. Good to have you here.
Let's go fucking teachers.
Appreciate that. That's gonna go to our closing costs.
Everything is going to our closing costs.
I know. That's why I said that. I can apply that to everything.
Yeah, someone was like,
you want a chapter reaction? Closing costs.
we want to own a house. We're gonna own a house.
Yeah.
Someone earlier was like, here's money for the inevitable home renos, and I'm like, it's so cute that you think that we have a reno fund when currently it is a closing fund.
Right now it's the closing fund, the home fund. The reno fund will come later.
That'll start in September.
Yeah. Luckily we have friends who are well versed in the reno sphere that I don't think will end up getting like screwed over.
No, because our friend's dad is going to do everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
At least lay a new driveway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to get a new driveway, and I thought it might be fun to put down, like, a cool stone mosaic or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or, like, brick.
Oh, okay. So, to start super chatting for our stone mosaic driveway that apparently we can afford.
I just mean it's going to have to get redone.
How many chapter reactions till we can afford a stone mosaic driveway?
That's not that. The people put that in their yards all the time.
Yeah, a little path.
No.
Not a fucking driveway.
That's not that bad. Okay. We're going to live in this house for a very, very long time, and it doesn't have to get done right away.
A fucking mosaic driveway. Oh my god.
Yeah, what? That's not that weird.
Let's pay our taxes next year first. No. We're still being audited too. We're making reckless life choices with your stone mosaic
But
driveway.
hey, that's moving along. That will hopefully be dealt with soonish. We're making progress. It's good.
Even our auditor is like, we need to get a move on. This has been going on forever. And we're like, girl, you're auditing us. Mm-hmm. What do you mean this has been going on forever? You did this.
Brother Armand, I just want to tell you that there are already stained glass windows in the house. It was one of the things that we loved about it. I'll show you guys soon. Don't worry.
They don't depict the Stormlight Archive because they're from 1907.
Not yet. But
maybe 1907.
If we want to invest, we did meet a guy at Gen Con last year who does make nerdy stained glass.
Oh, that's right.
Panels. They're very, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
But that's like 10-year plan.
They're still cheaper than a stone mosaic driveway.
Probably not.
We're going to get Banksy to fucking paint our house next. Okay, Navani is hanging with her Scalars, and she's, they're doing the lift device, not lift the girl. And...
not lift the person, but the elevators.
Yeah, Tomor is not the Tuma, has turned it into a glove that you can use to whip around space. You can only go one direction at a time. But, my favorite part of this chapter is that he's like, use it, try it. You go up. And she goes up into the air, and then she's just dangling, and she's like, so, chill, bro. How do I get down? And he's like, right. Didn't think about that.
Right.
Has to bring over a fucking step stool. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately for some people, Navani did try it. So money changes hands as the bets over whether or not Navani would give this man the time of day.
Navani always does.
She's down to try anything. I bet Dalinar and her have some kinky fucking sex.
Probably. The thing with Navani is that she understands how to stroke an ego, which is why she's also good for Dalinar as well. But like, she understands that like shutting down a creative person when in the middle of their excitement at a new discovery, a new device, like whatever it is, is maybe not the best way to handle things in the moment. And she gets that. She gets people. She understands artists and scientists alike.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so, they capture someone trying to replace the ruby for the Spren conversation that she had previously shattered. And we find out that it was David.
That one we should have predicted. That one I feel like, I know.
Yeah. I know. But again, I feel like I just am not even like trying to predict things anymore.
There's so many people.
I just am not thinking ahead at all. I'm like taking it in as it comes.
We're like barely keeping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So David has been connecting with the tower through the veins in the walls. And the floors and the ceilings, whatever. The sibling is alive, guys. The sibling is present in this story now. Mm-hmm. We cut over to Venli quickly, and
the invasion has begun.
Well, yeah, they're climbing up through the bottom of the mountain here.
Uh-huh.
And they discover that there is this is where we find out the sibling's still alive. And that
Alive,
they're
but
sleeping.
asleep, or they think is asleep. We find out they're not that either.
Yeah, over with Kaladin, they're just working on some doctoral shit. And
him and Liren have a really interesting conversation
Yeah.
that I loved because like Kaladin kind of refers to himself as mentally ill, and
Yeah.
Liren is like, well, no, you can't think of yourself like that. And he's like, that is part of the thinking that has led to almost no research
Yeah.
and discoveries being done on this, is because everybody thinks it can't be them, it can't be their friend, it can't be their partner, it can't be their son, their daughter, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Liren's like, thank you for challenging me on that.
Yeah, my mom and I had the same conversation, but it did not go that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. In the Chipotle, just
not know
south of
that.
Times Square in 2012.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm autistic. She's like, no, you're not. You just struggle with people. And I'm like, no, a doctor told me that I was autistic.
Right.
She was like, no, you're not. Don't say that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're like, but no, I'm
all right.
I'm being
and then I didn't for
real.
like 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had this exact conversation with my mom, and I was like, no,
That's very funny.
All right, well, I guess I just won't say that, even though my mom and I have a great relationship. I'm not like shit on my mom. We have a great relationship.
Yeah, no.
I just like this. I vividly brought back a conversation in a Chipotle from 13 years ago.
I love that.
Yeah, very funny. Yeah, Kaladin does say we need a medical revolution, which I thought was very funny because I was like, there's a global war against God going on. I think there's bigger problems. And then this book is like, Kaladin's like, I want a medical revolution. And then the book is like, you're going to get invaded by the enemy. We've got other things to deal with first.
Yeah, priorities. Unfortunately. Although
He's not wrong, but
although maybe the Fuse just need group therapy.
No, I'm pretty sure they need to stop killing people by taking over their bodies.
I just mean, they're not well. They're not well.
They need death.
Yeah, group therapy.
Like they need
it's like a group suicide. They're like, we're actually out. We're done.
You're like, the
planet's yours.
Need Jonestown.
Oh, go on.
They need Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
We just need to get Kool-Aid for the Fused.
That's what we're gonna call it. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm referencing?
The mass suicide of the cult. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was a Criminal Minds episode that was based off of it.
I have to ask because I never know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if Criminal Minds made an episode based off of it, then I probably know.
I need to watch Criminal Minds so that I know your cultural touchstones.
You do. You really need.
And you need to watch everything else that's ever been made.
Well, okay.
That is very popular.
Let's alternate. Every evening, we will either watch an episode of Criminal Minds or an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I don't know how we will fit that into you binging House as dedicatedly as you have been.
The House is just on in the background. This we would like actively sit down to watch.
I don't know when we're going to find an hour every day to sit down and watch a TV show.
That is sad.
We're buying a house.
That is sad.
Let's move into our house and then we'll watch Buffy.
My husband is ignoring me because he won't watch Criminal Minds with me.
No, I'm ignoring you because...
Divorce.
We are trying to buy a house. And our budget is we make YouTube videos and sometimes they do well.
Can we put that on the official bank application? Is we make YouTube videos and sometimes they do well.
We might be able to pay our mortgage. A video might do well.
Wow. No, I think we're okay.
Taft shows up and is like, Dabbit hasn't been seen in a few days. We jumped the gun that it's Dabbit. Sorry, it's
Dabbit. We already all knew that.
Venli and her people find some soldiers in a tunnel and they fucking massacre them.
Yeah.
Because of course they do. Yeah. They have superpowers.
Yeah. Venli real not good at killing, and Raboniel is like, wait, but you are part of the listeners, and they are the ones who went to war with the Alethi. And she's like, I did not do that. I was a smarty pants. I did not do the punchy punch.
Yeah. There's
that was Eshonai.
I am a scholar, ma'am.
Ma'am, please.
Ma'am, no. I hung out in the library.
Pretty much.
And yeah.
I made a deal with a void sprint, okay?
We get to chapter 38, which has a pretty banging title. Rhythm of the Terrors.
We reacted to this.
Yeah.
You can see our reaction to Rhythm of the Terrors, which is like a great name for so many things. It's a great name for a book or a chapter. It's a great name for a band or an album.
Yeah.
Like it's a great name for maybe not a company, actually. I don't know what kind of I don't know what company would be Rhythm of the Terrors. That maybe not that. But Navani is distracted from the blinking span read with there was an explosion that killed two of her scholars. The two scholars that were researching the sphere that was not void light. Now, I'm not convinced that it was the sphere that exploded. I think it was a cover-up. I think there is potential that this was a cover-up for somebody else to get that sphere away from the scientists. That there were discoveries there to be made that were very, very, very dangerous to Spren or maybe the listeners. No, sorry, the singers. I don't know why I can't get that straight in my head. But I do not think that the sphere itself actually exploded. I think there's got to be something else here. And I think Navani also agrees with me that this is very suspicious. But yeah, so Venli and the intruders arrive at the sibling pillar, which I guess is the heart of the sibling or connected to the sibling. I'm not 100% sure what kind of spren the sibling is, and so I'm a little...
Not a spren.
But no. But like but also is part of the pillar or is the pillar, but like... Yeah. Yeah. Not 100% sure how the connection with the pillar works.
It is the tower, not the pillar.
The
pillar is the heart
tower.
of it.
Yeah.
But the tower, the sibling can be found throughout the tower.
Yes, but you can connect with it through the like gem veins that...
Yeah, which are not always in the heart, right? Which are everywhere.
I just feel like I don't have a great grasp on the sibling and Urithiru as a functioning character yet.
It's magic, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's a magic tower that does magic tower shit that Brandon will either explain or not explain based on his whims.
Love that.
Yeah. That's the Stormlight Archive.
Do you think that the sphere exploded, or do you think that it was an explosion cover-up to get the sphere away from the scientists that died? The Artifabrians, I guess. Because I think it's a cover-up.
By who, though?
Good question. Maurice?
Oh, okay. That would make sense. Yeah. I think that would... It can't be Raboniel's people.
Well, yeah, they're not there yet.
Yeah.
And they can't also disguise themselves.
They can't use the masks to hide who they are.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, if it's a cover-up, it would have to be the Ghost Bloods. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. Because if it isn't the Ghost Bloods...
Who the fuck?
Then it's somebody new. And
No, the Sons of Honor are making a comeback.
I desperately need it to not be somebody new.
That's fair.
I don't know if you guys can feel this from me right now, but I really need it to not be a new plot line.
All right. That's fair.
I need one of these things to get, not even resolution. I just want to understand one of the plot lines going on in this book a little bit. I do the tower invasion I do, but yeah. I definitely just don't want it to be a new thing.
Yeah. That is fair. Anyways, Raboniel starts corrupting the sibling pillar. Mm-hmm. And we jump back to Kaladin, who's hanging out with Teft. They go find Relaine. Oh, because they are looking for David. And David will often help in the fields and such. And unfortunately, Relaine has not seen them either. And Kaladin takes a moment to apologize to Relaine about desecrating the listener corpses.
Yeah, finally. That took a year.
Yeah. But it really does show that Kaladin has been so stuck as the leader that he couldn't spend any time self-reflecting. And now that he has now that he has a moment.
Blue Sparrows, thank you for gifting 10 Nerdy Wordy Book Club gift memberships.
Hell
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Thank you so much.
That is
Let's fucking go.
Unbelievably kind.
There's a bunch of books about to drop into your lap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so cute.
Yeah, that's where I put the alert. It doesn't have to be in your lap. We can move it.
That's fine. I can catch them. I'm strong. Ember Eyes says, I empathize with Nerdy on this. I have a book permanently on pause because it's book 7 in a series and suddenly a whole new faction showed up and kidnapped a character and I couldn't deal with it.
Fair. Yeah. That is valid.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to put this on pause. Like, I'll keep going, but...
Mortgage payment. Thank you.
I do, yeah. I do feel a certain way about this series. Mm-hmm. You know what? Reading Will of the Many this week. Thank you to everyone who came to the Will of the Many book club. I am gonna finish the book and do the 2 more book clubs. After that, we'll see how many book clubs I do by myself after.
Oh, you were like, it's a lot of talking.
No, I loved it. It has like 250 views. So if the audience isn't interested, then the audience isn't interested, and I very much appreciate the people who are. Like, that isn't, but you know, mm-hmm. I'm not gonna do it through. You know, there's a realistic limit on how many times I'm gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if it grows at all through these 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
that's
then
fair.
It's a lot of work to put in. I mean, I know people commissioned reactions, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But for what it means for the channel,
it might be one of those things where like we only add book clubs that we can do together, because if people aren't and
I would like to read the book, so maybe the next books we do together. I just didn't have the time to do it this time around.
Yeah, but if it's only going to get 15% of the views of the regular videos on the channel, mm-hmm. There's just a point where it actually just hurts the channel to do it. Like, it actually like YouTube starts to send the channel to fewer new people.
Yeah.
And so if you create those
algorithms
cycles, then YouTube just kills the channel, because they're like, you're not making content that the audience wants, so we don't want you to. We want to disincentivize you from being.
Yeah. Now, a couple of people in chat said they just hadn't finished the reading yet, but they are going to watch it, so that's nice.
No, and I appreciate that. And again, I'm not blaming anybody, or I'm just saying that like there is a reality to.
There's a math to doing what we do that sucks.
Yeah.
That is less about what we want to do and more about, like, if we keep doing this and the algorithm and YouTube don't like it, then we just put ourselves in a worse position for other things, which
and again, it was fun. I had a blast. I had a great time. I thought it was very fun. It just, I will change the format. It just probably won't be live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But reading Will of the Many has been... reading a book that has like themes that it's tackling intentionally, that it is actually about, is really nice. Mm-hmm. And then coming back to Stormlight after reading like that and being like, oh yeah, we're just doing a bunch of shit, and I have no idea what's going to be relevant in 6 chapters.
Yeah.
Has been a slightly jarring experience.
Yeah.
And
we just need to get Will of the Many to blow up on TikTok.
It has. It's huge.
Oh, apparently it's not like the most popular book. Like, it's.
I mean, it's on a lot of people's like best of the last 5 of the last year lists on TikTok. That's where I found out about it, was on TikTok. Was all these people being like, "This is my favorite book I've read this year."
Yeah.
And I see why. It's very good. And they're so different that I'm not comparing them quality wise.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, coming out of Mistborn Era 2. And the sort of like, this is a Mistborn Era 2, but it's really about the Cosmere. And then coming into this, and like, this is Stormlight Archive again, but it's also kind of about the Cosmere.
There is a lot of Cosmere stuff in it, yeah.
To just sit down and read a book that I'm like, oh, this is telling its own story. And I can just be invested in what's happening because it matters to all of these characters right now, was really nice. Yeah. And then opening this book again, and it's like, Mraize is hunting Lift in the hallways for some reason. And I'm like, why?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't, why?
There's so much happening
Am
here.
I supposed to care about this? I care about Lift, obviously. Like, I think she's a good character. But like, I was like, I guess he's hunting a girl for some reason. That makes...
What a dick.
That must make sense in book 6.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, where were we? We were talking with Relaine.
Yeah, we're talking with
Kaladin
Relaine.
apologizes, which is great.
Yeah.
They
nice.
ask about David, and Relaine is like, yeah, so how is this group helping you, Kaladin? And he's like, what do you mean helping me? Merlane's like, well, like, you know, like you're part of it, right? And he's like, no. Which is funny that when he's talking to Lirin, he kind of lumps himself in the category that these people are in. But it takes Merlane, like, calling him out on it for him to actually start to admit that he might also benefit from this.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to be the one talking at group therapy for it to be beneficial, right?
For
Like
sure.
it isn't. It isn't. The goal of it isn't for it to be an ego-driven exercise where it's all about who's speaking. But
it's just sharing the human experience that other people can hopefully understand.
Yeah.
Right. Feeling less alone.
Yeah. And so he decides he's going to talk more in the group therapy that will never happen again.
Yeah.
Venli. We got back to Venli at the end of the chapter here, and Raboniel is doing some stuff. And she pumps a bunch of void light into a gem, and suddenly the fences flip. And one question I do have here is if the tower's defenses prevent the fuse from using void light, how is she channeling void light? Is a question I have that probably doesn't matter, but you'd think the defenses would stop this from happening.
They stop certain powers.
But, like, if, like, Lift can't channel... Oh, I guess no, because I guess they can still... After she flips it, they can still channel Stormlight into the gem.
Yeah, there's still stuff that is possible. It's just, like, a lot of the fused powers do not work.
Well, no, but Navani specifically is able to move Void Light from gem to gem later. Navani moves Stormlight.
Stormlight, yes.
From gem to gem later.
Yes.
After it's been flipped. Mm-hmm. So it actually does make sense.
Yeah, the actual energy can still move or be moved around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without having to use the powers.
Yeah.
Right. No, that does make sense. Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah.
Also, it does seem like the deepest ones don't need to be using their powers to move through stone, which I find very interesting. That's not a power. That is just like them. Because they're able to do it despite the fact that the defenses are up.
Yeah. We get another Seizen moment that I do think is interesting, where we find out that an investiture, a shard, will gain its own will if it doesn't have a vessel and it's not controlled.
Yes.
That's kind of scary.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that. That has implications.
Do you think that there's a world where, like, do you think that there is a world where, like, end of book 5, we kill Odium's vessel and, like, one of our, like, maybe that's where this is going. Maybe this war, we kill Odium's vessel, and, like, Renarin has to be the one to step into it.
Why Renarin?
Because of the connection that he already has. You know what I mean? Through the corrupted spren, through the seeing the future, like the sort of elements of Renarin that are seemingly halfway there. Although then that would also there's a number of characters that could be put in that place. Maraise could step into that position.
That would be bad, I think.
And then that's how Stormlight 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 happen.
Interesting.
Is that like Maraise?
But you think like the shard of Odium stays the same, but they kind of it's like in a video game boss when they have their second form that you have to then defeat.
But Odium would have very different goals, and so it is a very different fight against Odium in the second half of the series.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? He's not as like tied to the Persian or the singers.
Yeah.
The only characters I think make sense for that kind of a shift would be Yasna, because she is the intelligent, pragmatic one who I think would do it to like for knowledge and because she thinks she could handle it.
Yeah.
And then become a villain because she's corrupted. Taravangian would be interesting.
I don't know if he's gonna live long enough for that, only because he's already dying. But yeah.
But I could see him doing it to not die.
Sure.
Right, like Taravangian being the character who always wanted to keep people safe and was willing to make these deals to keep people safe. And we'll get to his interlude, but he realizes that maybe he hasn't made as good a deal as he thought he had.
Yeah.
and that there might be chance for something to change. And he takes the opportunity to become Odium to not die and to keep people safe, not realizing that he is corrupted by it and becomes more evil than he already is. Renarin is a good option. Mraize is a good option.
Yeah, Mraize is a good option. I think that another good option would be Szeth, narratively. Especially because his soul is already, like, separated.
Oh, no, we're forgetting about the most obvious option. The most obvious one's Moash.
No, fuck Moash. I hope Moash just dies.
I know, but he's already funneling all of his emotions into Odium.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing that he's the one that makes the most sense, probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because that's what he wants, right? In a way.
Yeah, I guess what happens if you put, like, a depressive, like, husk of a person as the vessel instead of whoever it is right now. Here's the thing. We don't know much about the previous vessel, and so it's kind of hard to predict how the shard would affect any one of these characters because we don't have a good baseline for it. Yeah. But I don't think any of it would be good.
The only reason I'm thinking about it at
all
is...
Or Dalinar takes it and does become the big bad.
No, that would be such a letdown.
Yeah,
it would be such a letdown at this point if it's Dalinar, because it would be such a regression. You know what I mean? It would just be like, oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess there was just no point to Oathbringer.
Yes.
I don't want it to be Dalinar because it would ruin my favorite book in the series. It would legitimately ruin Oathbringer for me if everything that he goes through in that book, he just becomes Odium.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he has to become Odium because it's the only way to save people and it's like this very sad, like heroic sacrifice moment, that's different. But if he like goes evil and chooses it, that would suck.
No, and I don't think he would choose. Yeah. No, I think it would be like I have to do this for some weird reason. But it'd be tough.
Just because the series loves shitting on Kaladin, I could see Wind and Truth ending with them killing the shard vessel.
Yeah.
And they think that they are saved the day.
But
and then Moash steps in and takes that power. And then Moash, it's like the last dagger twisted in Kaladin's gut. Yeah. That Moash has become Odium.
Yeah. I want to say mispronounced name says Dalinar plus Odium equals Odinar. But actually, if you take Dalinar and Odium's name, it is pretty close to Oridin. If you put the names Dalinar and Odium together, Oridin is like fairly close.
How is it close?
Because it sounds close. It sounds like a mix of those two names.
I mean, Dalinar plus Odium, and you get Oridin.
Yeah, they're all very similar. Well, sorry, Dalinar's not, but Odium and Oridin are also already very similar.
Okay, yeah.
What?
Kind of.
In terms of like names, like in terms of words, they are like kind of similar.
All right. I don't fully agree, but sure.
All right.
I think Odium and Oridin are very different names.
But they have so many of the same letters.
They start with O.
Yeah. They both have D sounds. They both have 3 syllables. They both kind of fit similarly in your mouth.
I guess.
They both end on a, like, consonant.
Sure.
I don't think that's that weird.
I just don't think Odium and Oridin are very similar. That Odium goes forward and Oridin goes back. They just feel very different to me.
All right.
Yeah. They don't rhyme. They don't have any syllables in common other than the first one.
But I bet if you saw them on a page side by side, your brain would be like, yeah, that's very similar.
Yeah, because I'm fucking dyslexic. Like, I have a condition.
Yeah. But it's not 2 random words that are not related. Like, they're...
I don't think that Kaladin's baby brother is going to become the big bad.
No, I don't either. That's not what I said. I just said that the names are similar. That's all.
I thought you were saying that to imply that Oridin was going to become the bad guy. You just said that because you thought the words were kind of similar?
Yeah.
That was your whole point?
Yeah.
This wasn't related to the, like, who's going to become the vessel thing?
No.
Oh, my... I thought you were... I thought you were like, well, if you get Dalinar plus Odium equals Oridon, therefore Oridon is going to be the one that becomes the vessel. I thought that's what you were trying to say.
No, I just thought that they sounded similar. I don't think that's that weird. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways.
Teft passes out. Teft is out, and Kaladin is like, ah, shit. That's weird. Dude had a stroke. That can't be anything more important.
Yeah, it's definitely an isolated incident.
Yeah.
And then Kaladin tries to use his magic, and it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. So he can't lift him with magic.
Yeah,
but he can
lash him.
Stick people to things. Because we find out that
adhesion is a fake magic.
No, adhesion is Honor's domain, because it is the idea of bonds. And so because bonds are Honor's whole thing, adhesion is Honor's thing that Odium can't do. And so it is the surge that the fused are not capable of.
Oh, I just thought they said it was like a fake one. I don't know.
No.
I didn't really understand that.
Okay, I can explain it. So they call it the like fake one because adhesion is so because bonds are Honor's thing, right? The concept of bonds between people are Honor's thing means that bonding things to each other literally is also Honor's thing. So it's Honor surge. Basically, Honor is allowed to use duct tape and nobody else is. Because Honor is all about the bonds between people.
Yeah.
It is the idea that because the word bond can be used to use two different meanings, that Honor gets both meanings because he is really strong in one of the two meanings.
Well, I guess oaths are binding, and so it does.
But in a
it's
different
fun
way.
wordplay.
It is.
Now here's the
question. It is a superpower.
Here's the question.
That comes from literal wordplay.
Here's the question. This is clearly not in English, right? So in Alethi, does bond mean the same thing in the ways that in English?
It has to. It literally has to. This is a language joke. That is going to be the like reason why the tower survives. Mm-hmm. And I dig that. Don't get me wrong. I'm laughing about it because it is very funny.
Yeah, it just only works if it's English.
No, I'm sure there's many languages where it works, but
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I love that you're like, it only works in the language I speak, and there's no other language where that works.
Yep.
But it's this is such a like I teach English fucking like moment for Brandon Sanderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we cut over to Navani. Navani and her soldiers watch as their radiance also pass the fuck out. What?
Yep.
What does that look?
Nothing.
And they're like, shit. They talk to David and... Oh, yeah, they start using the span read to talk to the sibling.
To the sibling.
But rather than get a conversation about how, she's a bad person and how she's, doing bad things to the Spren, the sibling is like, we're under a tower. You gotta help us, man. They're in my bowels. They're climbing up through my rectum. They're gonna touch my heart.
They're corrupting me.
They are magic school busing their way through my body.
Yeah. The sibling is very scared of Raboniel.
Yeah, she's the one who, what does he call her?
Oh, yeah.
She has like a title, and the sibling is aware of her title.
Yeah.
And knows who she is, which it makes her extra creepy.
Yeah, right. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. And so immediately they like hop into high gear. They got the Lady of Pains, the Lady of Wishes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, David like shows them how to communicate with the strata in the walls.
Yeah.
And is not able to communicate verbally, but they're able to They are able to communicate with the sibling and figure out that any room that has that same veins running through it, they should be able to communicate as well.
Yeah, and so Navani touches the wall and is able to talk to the sibling for the first time.
Yeah.
Straight up hear a voice. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so they're going to retreat to the map room and they're going to plan from there. We cut back to Kaladin. And Kaladin is freaking out because Syl and Fenderana, which is Tef's friend, are nowhere to be found. And Relaine is there, and Relaine is like, dude, somebody's playing the drums, and they do not have headphones on. Someone is playing the drums full volume in this apartment building, and we can all hear it.
Yeah, these rhythms are crazy.
So they're running Tef to the Edge Dancer Clinic, and of course everyone there is unconscious.
Yep.
And so they run all the way back home, and they bring all the Edge Dancers, I think they bring someone.
Oh no, there's a Stone Ward already there.
Stone Ward, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Kaladin finds he's able to do adhesion. He can't do other lashings, and the Kaladin, briefly thinks about how he lost his powers in Hearthstone. And
they find out the span reeds are not working either.
Yeah, the span reeds aren't working, and Syl is present but cannot become a Shardblade and is not doing all that hot.
She can't go too far.
Yeah. So we cut back to Navani, and the sibling and Navani have a conversation, and Navani is like, we gotta fucking get on the defense. We gotta get everyone on her team here.
Yeah.
And that's it. They go to the map room.
Yeah.
Kaladin, there's a lot of bouncing around of very quick ideas in this section.
Yeah, at least we're all in the same location at the same time, which is helpful. But
if you're like, you guys are moving quickly through this, that's kind of how this section feels.
Yeah.
Right? This invasion is
really moves.
It feels like it shouldn't have been as successful as it is. Just because it feels like they should have been more prepared for this, given that they were attacked a year ago at the tower. But they've grown a little complacent, and also they, as Kaladin brings up, became really dependent on their superpowers.
Yes, they did not think that the Radiance would just be like deactivated.
Yeah.
So that makes all the difference in the world. Kaladin's freaking out a little bit. He's not doing too well.
Yeah.
He tries to he picks up a scalpel to maybe try and use it, and that's not gonna happen. Syl shows up. This is where she's like, I couldn't go that far. It was very weird. But they are bringing in troops through the Oath Gate. So they already have the Oath Gate. And then Lirin is like, you cannot fight. You cannot attack them, because if you do, they will kill all of us.
Well,
you are putting us in danger if you decide to fight.
That, and also he's like not well. Like it's not like he's ready. He is like slumped against a wall, like.
Kaladin is not in a position to defend anyone.
Yes.
And therefore, Lirin is like, let's not.
Yeah,
we surrender.
I agree with Lirin here, which is interesting because I so heartily disagree with him later.
Yeah.
But here, I think he's doing a good job keeping Kaladin from making a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Just because the stakes in this moment are very different than what they're going. When I rant about Lirin in 20 minutes here, it's a very different situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's tough. We have chapter 40, which is In for All. This is where we meet my new favorite character, who is immediately not in the plot anymore.
I know,
dude. Okay.
I know.
So Navani's in the map room talking with a bunch of people. She's like, Bright Lord Teofil. And then she looks at him and she's like, wait, you don't have bright eyes. What the fuck do I call you?
Battalion Lord?
What is that? Oh, no, that's not important. It's Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah, it's probably not important at all. You're right.
So this is where the Dark Eyed stuff comes back in these little ways.
Yeah, it's being like seeded in through the plot as opposed to having like front and center.
But there have been some Dark Eyed people who have been raised up to higher levels of command, and they somehow did this without ever talking about what that means for.
I just don't think Navani knows.
But Navani is the person who should know.
She's not really involved in the military structure or promotions.
Except that she's in all the meetings, so like she'd be there. I don't know. It feels like they are trying to be better. But Navani should be one of the people making those decisions. She's the queen. She's like, I don't know what to call you.
I guess.
Honestly, in this case, Navani, you're queen. You kind of get to decide what to call him.
Yeah, I guess Navani sets precedent.
It is just so.
Navani is the Supreme Court.
It is fascinating that their system is so like the racism in their system is so deeply ingrained.
Yeah.
That you can't hold a position because it would be like if in World War II they were like promoting black men and they were like, "Hey, white boy, wait, I can't. The leaders can't be white boys anymore because they're not all white boys anymore. Fuck, what do I call you, white boy? I guess we'll go with lieutenant. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's just like."
Sure.
But it's kind of that, right? Like,
sure, yeah. It's just
we can't call all of our fucking majors crackers anymore. What are we gonna do?
I don't think they did that.
I know that. I am not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying that it's the equivalent of being like, oh shit, your place in society is the word for it is a term that you would consider to be offensive.
That you would consider to be offensive?
Yeah, the dark-eyed people would consider being called Bright Lord offensive.
Oh, I mean some of them, like Kaladin hates it. Like a lot of them definitely.
Sorry, everyone we've met thinks that it's offensive.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm sure you can imagine people that don't, but every single one of the books that it's been said to has been like, I don't do that.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's like a military rank thing, but it is racially charged. It's very odd.
Yeah. But also, it's not just a military rank thing, it's like nobility. Right? Even the like princes and stuff, like the lords of like houses and things like that are like bright lords. So I don't think it's not strictly military, right?
100%, but like and
so I thought I was wondering if I had.
I am not an expert on all the kinds of words that people use, right? But I don't know of any like rank that is in our life that is tied to a word that is associated with your race. Right? Like a black person can be an earl. Earl doesn't mean white person.
Yeah.
But like Bright Lord specifically means that you have light eyes.
Yeah.
It's just an odd problem to have as a society where like you are trying to improve, but the language is so racially motivated that you literally can't call someone a rank.
That is actually a very interesting parallel to our world, right? Because there are certain words that have racist connotations that aren't used in like today's day and age in a way to be racist, but they just came from a place they came from systemic racism. Like when people say grandfathered in, right? That is like a phrase in the language that that came from racism, even though people like aren't using it, like aren't usually saying it to be racist, right?
Oh, 100%. I just don't.
No, I just think the parallels are interesting. That like
those
the
kind
language
of terms are usually aren't usually in like military structure or in like nobility structure.
I don't know. Yeah, there might be something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, it is very interesting.
Chris Pilkin says UK Army officers are often called Ruperts. Posh.
What? Also, welcome back to the Nerds Radiant.
They're called Ruperts? After Rupert Grint?
Yes, Rupert Grint was
Ron Weasley and
was the very first UK officer. Yeah. He's actually a 10,000-year-old vampire.
That's wild.
Huh.
Come over here, Rupert. My name's not Rupert, sir. No, I know. It's because you're a captain, sir.
That's so wild. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So,
but yeah, it's an odd moment. But so Teofil fucking rocks. Teofil is the best. And so Navani is like, hey, can we get down to this pillar? And he's like, if you commit all of your resources and you expect us to die. And she's like, great, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's ride.
This is the only chance that we have.
We are #in for all.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Chapter 41, The Most Dangerous.
Ooh, the most.
What's the most dangerous?
Women.
Well, yeah.
Women are the most dangerous.
Depends, but yeah.
No, it's women.
Sure.
Women scare me.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's why I dated one who doesn't have any memory. If you could remember things, I'd be in trouble.
I'd be too powerful, guys. I would be unstoppable if I could actually remember anything.
I love you.
I love you. Venli and Raboniel are, they find the pursuer, and Raboniel goes against the 9 and says that he can go hunt Kaladin, which to me seems like a big deal, because she was one of the 9 at one point, so she kind of has this weird, like, one-up on them.
Well, no, she just says she'll be responsible for the consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem too worried about that.
I don't think that Raboniel thinks that the current fuse structure is going to stick around for very long.
Yeah.
I don't get the vibe.
Raboniel's got plans on plans on plans.
Yeah, and those plans I don't think involve the 9 living for very much longer.
Well, it's really easy to kill them. They're stuck in the stones.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think that the biggest danger to the fused right now is Raboniel.
Maybe.
And she's like, I kind of want to work with humans to have some kind of a peace. I think she means that.
Or she wants to have the humans as like endless experimental fodder, basically.
Scott Vandy, thank you for that super chat. Are you telling
Thank
me
you.
DEI brought the tower down?
Are you?
No, I'm saying that
DEI brought the radiance back.
DEI is what Navani turns to in a pinch. Because that's always what it is. When things are good, we complain about DEI, and then when you need boots on the ground to go to war, you rustle up all the people that you've fucking treated poorly.
Sure, yeah. No,
what, you think it's the rich kids that are going to be the first ones to get the draft notice?
No,
it's going to be the fucking, like, black kids in Kentucky.
Teofil shows up. The only reason that they're able to protect the sibling is because of Teofil.
Yeah, 100%. But this is always how it goes.
Yeah.
The rich people are in an emergency, and whose bodies are they throwing down the staircase?
Yeah.
It's not their kids.
Jesus Christ.
It's not the Ruperts.
The officers.
Yeah. That's how life works.
Judah, thank you for that super chat. Unfortunately, unpowered normal humans are relatively squishy compared to crab people who have the power to crawl through stone walls and floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. But thankfully, the crawling people have no armor and also can't bring weapons with them. So they aren't actually as dangerous as I thought they were. The deepest ones are a nuisance, but they aren't actually that, like, lethal.
They're scary. They're more like a horror movie villain that is kind of like weak but terrifying. You
couldn't send them in on their own because they would die too easily, which makes them less overpowered than I thought they were.
Yeah, I was like, holy, how the fuck? Yeah, no, they're actually okay.
Judah Kazaris, thank you for that super chat. That's the one you just read.
Yeah.
Carrion, this is what I wanted to read. They would be the first, talking about the rich kids, but they've got bone spurs, so...
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Can't go to war.
Tragic. Super tragic.
Can't
When
go to
is
war.
the surgery to fix those?
Never. James Ross says the deepest ones have knife fingers. I mean, kind of, but like they're little knives.
Yeah, I mean, it's still scary. Look, still scary, but not as like be all end all as I thought.
The sibling has let Navani know that there is a fail-safe device to protect the heart. And so Teofil is leading the charge down towards the heart. And Navani's like, we're going to come halfway. We're going to go do a thing, and then we'll meet you there.
Yeah, they do a really cool bait and switch for the Regals.
Yeah.
Where they draw them into the room and then straight up just murk them all.
Yeah, before we actually get to that, Navani, there is an important thing. Venli and Raboniel have this conversation about how humans are able to build cool fabrioles. Right. And Raboniel wants the new iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she wants the fast new elevator in her apartment building, and she wants a new iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's, sort of like how like Russians are like at war with the Ukraine. but they're still bringing in American technology and perfume through China because they don't want to miss out on the latest and greatest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
You can't, like, there's no Apple stores in Russia right now, but, like, you can still buy an iPhone at a marked up price because it's being, like, brought into they're, like, shipping it through other countries to get it there. Because people, despite the fact that they're, like, at war, they still want the newest and greatest stuff from their enemies.
Crazy.
I'm not, this is not a criticism of anything. I'm just acknowledging this is a real world thing where, like, you can be on the other side of a conflict, but you still want the new iPhone.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Rabonio wants the latest Fabrials. She thinks they're cool.
I guess so.
She also, like, kind of respects humans. And Raboniel is far more interesting to me as a villain because she kind of respects humans. You know what I mean? Like, she's not a character who is so up her own ass about her own intelligence. Because I find those villains kind of boring, where they're just like, there's nothing humans could do that I would ever be interested in. I just want them to die. Raboniel isn't bland in that way. She's a cool villain because she's like, humans are very inventive. I would love to use some of this stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill them and I want to rule over them, but I'm not so conceited that I'm unable to see that there's value in the things that they're doing.
Well, and she understands how, like, she understands that because the Fuse keep coming back and they are so content in one way that the humans kind of have the leg up on innovation.
Yeah.
Right? Because of that, because they're always and constantly finding new ways to fuck around.
Yeah, and so I think that in that first chapter where we met her, I was like, oh, she seems a little bit like two-dimensional at the outset. Mm-hmm. And now that we've spent time with her, I'm like, no, this is a very cool and complicated character that I really enjoy reading.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
I'm also excited for more scenes with Raboniel and Leshwi. Mm-hmm. Right? Because they understand each other in a way that's fascinating.
I also think I would have loved, I don't know if we'll get it, but I would have loved a, like, smart Taravangian and Raboniel moment.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like, two kind of, like, the human and the Fuse, just because they have the same worldview, they're, like, willing to do anything to move their worldview forward. They're similar characters in a way. Raboniel's just smart all the time, and, you know, Taravangian fluctuates.
Yeah.
Judah Canizers, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
Angela Bassett as Raboniel is my ideal fan cast.
Angela Bassett is...
I'll just...
I know the name.
I know you'll see a photo and you'll know who she is. Clarus is not good at
I'm bad with names, but if you show me Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Wakanda Forever, obviously.
Yeah.
Incredible performance.
Fuck, yeah, that would go so hard.
Yeah. So, where are we at?
We are in the middle of chapter 41.
Oh, yeah. So,
they do the ambush for the Regals, chase them out, head towards the basement.
We have anti-thunder technology. Lightning.
Yes. They realize that the metal does draw the lightning, and so if they're able to hold rods, they can potentially...
They don't hold them. They have to, like, place them and not hold them.
Maybe they have rubber gloves. I don't know.
Also,
latex might be invented.
It seems like the Fused are not immune to their own lightning. So if they make everything real wet, get all the ladies of Urithiru attractive or turned on.
If everyone's all hot and bothered.
And the floor is all slick with their juices, then the Thunder Boys can't do anything because they'll hurt themselves.
Thunder Boys. Yeah, very cool. This bait was very well executed.
Yeah, it's great. The crossbows in the hallway scene is very cool.
Yeah.
In general, the invasion's very... Like, honestly, like, this stuff is very fun.
The whole tower stuff was banging. We did react to a lot of it that you can watch, but it really was so fun. And the stakes felt high, and I was like, what are they going to do? How are they... And I was riveted. I was riveted the whole time. Kaladin...
1 second. Petro Koval, thank you for that super chat.
So much.
Rhythm of War is my least favorite book of the 5, but Raboniel is my favorite antagonist. Fair.
Okay, all right. I dig it.
It's definitely not my least favorite so far. I thought this week's reading was great.
Yes.
Yeah. Really fun
so
stuff.
So far, I'm very enjoying it. This book seems kind of polarizing to people. A lot of people I've seen are either like, this is my favorite or my least favorite. I find that fascinating.
Can I offer up a prediction on why that might be?
Yeah, go for it.
This moment is really cool. This section is really cool. And the first section we read, the two sections in the middle were kind of fine to me.
Sure.
They were passable, and they got us where we needed to go. But they weren't exciting. Now that the surrender has happened, I could see this book coming to a very quick standstill of just being invaded and Navani just doing her best and Kaladin just hiding and the team in Amul knowing there's a problem but not being able to do anything about it. And like if coming out of this invasion section, if this book becomes well, there's not a lot we can do, so we're kind of in a holding pattern until something breaks mode, I could see that becoming wearisome to an audience, especially considering how exciting this week's reading was.
Sure.
It's kind of like when they left
when they were in Shadesmar,
when they left the Lethkar and Oathbringer. Yeah, you're right. Exactly what I'm thinking.
If that's the trajectory of the story, I can see that, but
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that, like, if that were to happen, I would understand how people think this is their least favorite, because it's like it's exciting beginning, and then it sort of spends like a while trying to get to this, and then really exciting invasion, and then like if Adlin's trial isn't that interesting and we're just kind of like waiting around for the invasion to end, I could see this book becoming something that is polarizing. I don't know what happens, so like I have no idea, but
yeah,
you know, this invasion's a huge thing, but even I'm looking at the invasion being like, I don't really understand how you take the tower back.
I don't know, man.
The numbers are just too crazy. You don't have the oath gates. Like, sure, you can fly the fourth bridge up there, maybe, but you can't fly the fourth bridge without the tower. Like,
no, it's got to be something to do with the sibling that we don't understand yet.
But then it's just like, but then that's like, oh, we just need to wait for the MacGuffin thing to happen.
Not MacGuffin. I think they have to figure it out.
Sure, but the siblings' power in this case would be the MacGuffin.
I guess, but it's like always been there.
Sure, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like that might not be as exciting to some people as it is to others.
Sure.
And that's why it's polarizing, because some people love this book. Arzu loves this book.
Yeah.
Right? So some people have to be very into what happens next. But I could see if that is like trying to figure out the sibling takes 2 parts and the whole book is just kind of like we're just spending time with Raboniel and Navani talking about Fabrials for 400 pages.
Yeah, I could see that.
Some people would love that.
Yeah.
And some people would hate it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Holy shit, Ernest Hill. What the fuck? Thank you for that super chat. Super duper chat. Oh my god. The invasion is one of my favorite moments in Stormlight.
Thank you.
For the first time we actually get to see what the Alethi soldiers being the best at what they do. I agree with that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, that is so fair.
Most of the series we hear about how good the soldiers are, but this part we get to see it.
Hell yeah.
And we get to see them adapt to an impossible new situation.
Yeah. How do they fight in here? And what does like losing the radiance mean? And they're still able to make some progress, hold their own for a minute. Yeah. And they do succeed in at least getting Navani to the sibling to then have a potential for later freedoms.
Would any other country's army have been able to pull off what they pulled off?
I don't know.
That's such a good point, Ernest Hill. Like, it really is finally getting a moment, because, you know, we kind of get it in Way of Kings, but the focus is so much on the bridges and so much on the shard bearers that you don't, like, what's going on with the rest of the army is sort of inconsequential at times.
Yeah, this feels more human. Like, just,
which is why I loved it so much, and why I was so sad that Teofil's dead.
I know, me too.
Because he rocked.
Yeah.
I like Teofil a lot.
I know, he was great. He was like, hey, like, we're gonna be honest and level with one another, right? And there was no bullshit. There was no, like, him being like, I would rather follow you than the fucking like 14-year-old light-eyed spoiled brats that I've had to follow my whole life. I have respect for you. I don't care about your gender. Like, that's not what's important.
Like, are you comfortable taking orders from a woman? And he's like, look, I just need someone to make a fucking decision. I love that conversation.
You decide, and I will.
I'm just glad you
decided
happen. Something.
Yes.
We've been arguing for 20 minutes.
No.
Thank you, Ernest. That was a very generous
Ernest, thank you so
super
much.
chat. We'll put that towards our closing.
Closing costs. Thank you. Hilarious.
And so we come back to Kaladin. Kaladin is handing out blankets and food.
Yeah.
And he gets confronted by a singer who is
looking
dick.
For a fight. Yeah.
And
just trying to provoke him.
He blocks a blow. And
before he can like think
he's
about
like,
it.
I was a combat medic.
Yeah.
And then he kind of lets the singer beat the shit out of him a little bit. Just a little bit.
He gets a little roughed up for
just
a moment.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kaladin realizes in the moment that this isn't the time to make a stand.
Yeah. We get to chapter 42, Armor and Teeth, which starts with Navani. They get instructions from the sibling. They're infusing the gemstone, and she like bullies the Thalens into giving over their secrets for transferring the Stormlight. Very fun. Very cool that it's just frequencies. It makes a lot of sense because of who the singers are and their rhythms.
I loved the tuning fork thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a cool concept that you were literally like creating osmosis through vibration.
Yeah.
And maybe not exactly. Again, we're not the physics guys, but oh my god, the it being such a simple, practical thing was such a cool concept.
Yeah.
As opposed to it being some like magic bullshit.
Yeah.
Where he had to invent it, just being like bing, like you could like fucking move Stormlight around with those bowls that the yoga teachers do.
Yeah.
I thought this was unbelievably cool.
Mm-hmm. What?
I just had an idea. We'll talk after book club. For what I want to do with the rest of the day.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Because I need to edit.
Yeah, the bowl. I can hear the sound.
Here.
No, I can do the sound. I can hear the sound in my brain. I know exactly what
we
you're
have
thinking.
to go get Costco.
We do have to get groceries, which means it would be late.
But we could go later.
Maybe. Anyways, don't worry about us. Very cool. They open a hidden door. There's a big uninfused sapphire in there.
What?
Kaladin is still doing the work. And he has a conversation with Relaine, who's like, hey, man, I can't stay here. If they find me, which they're going to, because we're not going to win this, I'm so fucked. So I have to go try to blend in.
Yeah, and he's right? Like,
he's 100% right.
He also is like, I am the best spy they had, so I'm going to go spy. And if I can help you, I will. If I can't, sorry.
Yeah.
But I got to take care of myself. I've never really fit in here. And I agree with him, man. There is a version of this where I do think that Relaine deserves the opportunity to go see what life for Under the Singers is like.
It's like when the Amish go and see what life is like.
But it's the opposite, right? Like it's kind of like obviously this is a little controversial now, but this is kind of like Birthright, where like giving Jewish people around the world an opportunity to go see Israel. There's an idea behind that I do understand. And regardless of current politics, and I don't want to get into that side of it because you probably know where I stand. But the idea of like, giving African Americans a cheap way to be able to experience where their family would have been from, right? I think that there's something in that. And Relaine has seen how the listeners lived and the humans lived. He's seen times of war, but he's never gotten to see like singers and listeners living. Obviously, it's still war, but living as the like dominant society in the way that they would, right? And so there's something about Relaine taking this opportunity. I think that I was fully supportive of, even though it is going over to the enemy in a way.
He has to do what he's got to do.
Yeah, and he's such a cool. I wish we'd spent more time with him, and I hope we spend more time with him in the future.
Same,
because I think he's such a cool character, and the idea of this like spy that's been living in such harsh conditions in dull form for so long is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Relaine all the best.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll catch up with him at some point.
Yeah. Navani, they're pumping as much into the
sapphire
as possible. Navani learns that Moash is using the honor blade to run the
Oath Gates. Right.
So that's bad. Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. We cut back to Venli. Venli is watching the humans do a good job.
And is like, damn, they did a good job.
And so is like, Raboniel, you have to come see this.
Yeah.
And so the reason Navani is able to succeed is because Venli thinks that Raboniel will think it's cool to watch humans put up a fight.
Until the pursuer just steps in and murders them all. Which is very sad. Because I was like, damn, these guys, like watching them do what they are good at was very impressive.
Code 76 just commissioned more chapter reactions just in case anyone's wondering, chapter 46, 49, they're going to get done.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you want chapter reactions, you got to get, you are running out of time to get them in. You got 16 minutes.
You're not running out of time that quickly. We go over every week.
Well,
we keep saying we're going to do a 3-hour show. We have 5 more chapters to talk about.
Yep. Okay. So
the only reason that Navani succeeds is because Venli is like, Raboni will want to see this. Is cool. Raboni will want to see this, and Raboniel's like, yeah, hey, thanks for bringing. You know what? Thanks for slowing me down on my work. That was cool. That was actually really sick.
Yeah.
It's sort of the equivalent of like when you like plop in my lap while I'm editing because there's like a TikTok you have to show me. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But the TikTok is human death.
Pretty much, yeah. Navani infuses the sapphire.
Yeah.
And somehow that's going to help. We will. Well, it creates
like a bubble of blue energy that blocks everyone out of the heart room.
Yeah, there's a shield.
But like a physical shield, not like a like power shield.
Yeah.
Like it literally is like it fills with like blue goop that hardens and so no one can get to the heart anymore, and they cannot change the sibling any more than the sibling has already been changed.
Yes, for now.
Yeah. And this happens because she feels Stormlight in the system, which is interesting. So she like feels the storm. She can somehow feel the whole system and feel Stormlight filling it up.
And is like
and is able to distinguish between that and void light.
Yeah, she's like, wait a second, that's weird. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be there.
And Navani, having done that, realizes that that's all that they can do for now, and that
so she surrenders.
TFL is dead. Mm-hmm. The soldiers have died, and she surrenders. They ask for They basically make terms. It's very simple stuff. We just don't want to.
Raboniel's like, you give me the radiance, and Navani's like, I don't want to do that, but I don't have a choice. So yeah. But
also, like, here's the thing: if you say no, they're gonna get them anyway. Like, there's not really any value in saying no.
Exactly.
The handing them over peacefully, maybe they get killed, or
they get killed anyway.
They just get hunted down and killed where they're lying. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, it's not like they can defend themselves at the moment. They are all unconscious.
And you can't hide who they are because they're the only people who are unconscious, right? Like, if you kick them and they don't wake up, they're probably a Radiant.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. There's not much they can do here, but Raboniel does offer Navani to work for her. She's seen the lift schematics and all this stuff, and she's like, you know what? You're pretty smart, actually. I could use you.
Navani's such a fucking boss, though. Because Navani's like, there's nothing demeaning in washing clothes.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah. That is important, good work. And Raboniel's like, oh, damn, I like you.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's like, I appreciate that you are not prideful.
Yeah.
But also, this way, you can be close to me to try to escape.
She's basically like, look, you can go wash clothes, or you can be a spy. Mm-hmm. And I'll know that you're spying, and you'll know that you're spying. It'll be a fun little game. Do you want to play fun little games? This is what I mean about the book could slow down. Raboniel being like, this could be fun little games, depending on how interesting those games are to the audience. That could be what's polarizing about the book.
I understand, yeah.
Yeah. And she's literally like, this is your only chance to maybe uncover something interesting. And Navani's like, fuck it, I'm in. I'm sold. I kind of want them to become friends.
I know, right?
Like, them realize they have a lot in common. They start, like, drinking tea together in the afternoons. Dalinar shows up, and Raboniel's like, oh my god, you're the husband. I've heard so much about you.
I don't know if Navani would accept chemical warfare, like biological warfare. So
no, but Caitlin would.
We're not. We're yeah. So I don't know how friendly they could really be, but we'll see. Yeah, we shall see. Chapter 43, Men and Monsters. Kaladin is told that Navani has surrendered.
Yeah.
It's bad news. Bad news bears. So
yes and no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, as long as they don't resist.
They could all be dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lyrian is like, hey, it's no different. I was already under the singers. It's fine. It's not going to be any different.
So much. This chapter made me genuinely hate Lyrian.
Yeah.
With a passion that I don't know how to...
Yeah. So a Regal shows up and tries to take the Stone Warden and Teft.
Yes.
And Kaladin... That is the line for Kaladin. Yeah. Kaladin is not able to muster himself together until they are about to take Teft away to maybe kill him, maybe not. Who knows? Liren certainly doesn't know.
Nope.
And so Kaladin attacks the Regal and leaves him dying to bleed out. And Liren is like, how dare you attack someone in my house, in my office? This is unacceptable. You are a monster. And Kaladin's like, I was trying to save my friend. Liren's like, well, you don't know that they were going to hurt him. And Kaladin's like, you don't know that they weren't going to hurt him. There's no logic there.
Oh, Liren fully is like, well, no, I would have told the Nazis where the Jews were, but like, I don't know what would have happened after that. That's not my fault. The Nazis don't seem that bad. Kaladin, we have to tell them that Anne Frank is in the attic.
I mean, when you put it like that.
He would have. That's who he is. And he thinks that is the strength of surviving, but it is a cowardice to turn over an unconscious person to the enemy like this, or not even to turn them over, right? To be so upset with Kaladin in this way.
Yeah.
And to be so demeaning and cruel to Kaladin for what he did is...
I think it's the only way he can come to terms with it is he has to go full send. Because he knows that if he begins to like question and slide down that slope that he might not be able to come to terms with the choices that he makes. But it doesn't make him suck any less.
Yeah.
It just makes him, I think, interestingly written.
Yeah. Embrai says, and when you were a slave, you should have just made yourself more useful to them. Like that, it is the idea that Liren is like, well, yeah, sure, they enslaved you and they carved a rune into your forehead so that everyone knew you were a slave forever, but you should have just been a better slave. Is his own father's point of view. It's so gross.
Yeah.
It's so sad. And like Tian died for this and his father has no empathy.
I understand why Liren is a coward, but Liren is like the worst kind of coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fight is so cool and Kaladin is wonderful in it. And like I genuinely like the writing of this chapter was so exciting. We reacted to this if you want to see us like moment to moment. Like it really is such a cool chapter until Liren goes off and then you realize just how small a man he really is and how little value he places on anything except his own intelligence. And
how small his worldview and perspective are.
Yeah.
He is so small-minded that it hurt to watch and it hurt Kaladin. This was a rough fucking chapter.
Chris Belden says Liren is not a coward. I disagree wholeheartedly with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that anyone who says it's just be a better slave and they won't be as mean to you, that's cowardice. That is ultimately to say that to your son who was actually a slave when you weren't is cowardice.
Yeah.
It is a level of supplication that is Kaladin deserves better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Judah, thank you for that super chat. This pissed me off so much when I read it, but over time I understood him more because Liren tried resisting against authority before and lost both sons to it. That's what I mean. I understand why Liren does what he does, but it doesn't make it any better. Right? Understanding why a character makes the decisions that they make is part of what is good writing, right? It's what Brandon Sanderson has seeded throughout the story for us to get to this point. But it doesn't make it any better, and it doesn't make it any easier for Kaladin.
Oh, it's good writing.
Yeah.
Me hating Liren is not me saying Brandon Sanderson did a bad job. He made me hate a character that did something that I think is worthy of hate. That's good writing. Brandon Sanderson did his job as a writer. He wanted me to feel an emotion, and I feel it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not supposed to hate Liren right now. I think the book wants me to.
Yeah.
It feels like it's very successfully eliciting a response from me.
Yeah.
So I think Brandon Sanderson did a great job here.
Yeah,
I just think that Liren has a worldview that I fucking hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's pretty rough.
The rollover and be a better slave mentality is, to me, reprehensible. To especially coming from the point of view that the reason why Kaladin was a slave is because Liren stole from the Bright Lord. Like, Liren can't say that Kaladin ended up in this position of his own volition. Liren is the one that set them down that path when he stole from the previous Bright Lord of their city. So, like, Liren started a chain of events and then is like, why didn't you put up with the consequences of my actions? Why didn't you do less putting up with the consequences of the decision that I made? Well, sorry, Liren, like, that it's the decision that you made. You started the path.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide that Kaladin has to put up with all of the fucking rocks that tumbled down the hill that you kicked on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, I'm not even saying that stealing from the Bright Lord was wrong, right? Like, it's legally wrong, but is it morally wrong? I don't know. But Liren is too old and too responsible to behave the way that he does and get any sort of grace from me.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to behave like this, then what you get is mocking derision.
Mm-hmm.
You get me going, you're not worth my time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's Kaladin's dad, so Kaladin is going to give him his time. He's going to respect, like, there's a level of pain there.
And Liren does have redeeming qualities. Like, Liren does, even though Liren is very much is not a main character, does feel like a fully fleshed out person, right? The conversation that him and Kaladin have earlier about, like, thank you for challenging me on this. Like, there are things about Liren that are good things, that make him complicated, that make him feel three-dimensional. And I just think that based on how little time we spent with him, I think he's incredibly well written.
Chris Picklin says, just because I've already commented, I just want to continue this conversation. Liren isn't a coward. He has a different worldview. He will die in defense of that view. He will not fight. Here's the thing about pacifism. It is only your worldview when it is your pacifism, when it is your defense, right? Liren is never the one at risk. Liren is willing to let everyone else have issues and have risk because it doesn't affect him, because he's selfish. Liren is never the one who has to die in defense of anything because he has never been in a position where he is in any danger. He will let everyone else succumb to whatever danger they are in so that he does not have to be inconvenienced to do anything.
Yeah.
That is not the same thing as being pacifism for defense. He is not the one that went to war and died.
Yeah.
Tien was.
Yeah.
He is not the one. His actions continuously put other people at risk and put other people in danger. Tien died because of his actions. Kaladin became a slave because of his actions. Liren does not get to sit back and go, well, it wasn't that bad. Nothing happened to me.
Yeah.
Because his cowardice led to everything that happened to his sons and is now going to allow for these two, for his son who is trying to do something. Kaladin doesn't want to be violent. That's not what Kaladin's trying to do. He just doesn't want his friend to die. And Liren doesn't care.
Yeah.
If Tef
Liren
died,
is willing to do mental gymnastics to be like to be like, no, don't do anything. He's like, well, they didn't say that they were gonna hurt him or kill him or whatever. And Kaladin's like, they don't have to explicitly say it. You are just being like, you are trying to be ignorant.
Yeah, he is trying to stick his head in the sand, which is what's cowardly about it.
Yeah.
That's the cowardice element.
Yes.
He is pretending that because it's going to go and happen outside of his room, he isn't responsible. That's cowardice.
Yeah.
Pacifism isn't cowardice. Pacifism can be an incredible tool, but you have to understand that you are responsible for it. The reason why Liren is a coward is not because he isn't acting. It is because he is pretending as if he is not responsible for the consequences of his pacifism.
Yeah.
If he wants to take responsibility for it, then fine.
Yeah.
If he can accept that his pacifism is going to lead to those consequences and that is his responsibility, then that's being pacifist. That is what that is. But that is not what Liren is doing. Liren is pretending that because he is being pacifist, if something bad happens outside of his surgery, it isn't at all on him. And it is. He is distancing himself emotionally from the consequences of his actions. And that is cowardly.
Yeah.
That is what is cowardly about it. It isn't the not being violent part. You can resist in incredible ways and not be violent. But Liren isn't doing that. Liren isn't saying be a peaceful activist. He is saying, don't be an activist.
Yeah.
Be a better
saying,
slave.
Don't do anything.
Those are not the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
They're not. Lirin has never put himself in harm's way over his pacifism. He has only allowed other people to be further in harm's way because doing anything would put himself in harm's way. Kaladin is not asking him to be violent here. He's just asking him not to put up with it. And Lirin's like, no, you have to let them take him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You have to let bad things happen to Teft or else something bad will happen to me. Mm-hmm. That's the argument he's making.
Yeah.
He is not making an argument that he's going to be a peaceful activist and fight without actually being violent. He's saying do nothing.
It's an extension of what he said before, where he told Kaladin, you can't do anything or they're going to come for us, right?
Yeah.
So it is an expansion on that idea, and we see how deep that goes in who Lirin is as a person. Also, hi Fabu, it's good to see you.
Nelson Mandela went to prison without hurting anybody because he was peacefully protesting.
Yeah.
But he was still active. He was still doing something to make the world a better place. Lirin is the opposite of that. Lirin would turn in the radiance in order to not have to deal with any consequences for himself.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a cowardly worldview that he has here. And it's shameful the way that he is so awful to Kaladin for defending a friend.
Yeah, and it's really his treatment of Kaladin in this moment that is indefensible. I can understand why Lirin has the worldview that he does, right? I get Lirin's actions. It's him taking it out on Kaladin, on his son, that I think marks the worst of who he is in this moment, right? Because if he had not said anything to Kaladin, if he had not made Kaladin feel worse for trying to
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
It would feel very different.
100%. It is specifically what he said to Kaladin that makes it rough.
Yeah.
It isn't that he doesn't fight. I don't need Lirin to pick up a sword.
Yeah.
It is specifically that he's like, you should never do this.
Yeah,
even
you're
though
a
Teft
monster.
Might die.
It says you're a monster for trying to save your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Light Blinded Fool, welcome back to the Nerds Radiant. Lirin is dyslexic and took the hypocritical oath. Yeah, he wasn't sure what he was taking at the time.
Nicholas Reed brings up a good point. Or not Nicholas Reed, sorry. The one on Joshua Schulten brings up an interesting point here. What about what he did in the village with the general guy? That's a great point. That feels so out of character for Lirin now.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what he was doing with the, not the mole. What's that guy's name?
The mink.
The mink.
Yeah.
Remember when he was in the book? But this is what I'm talking about with Stormlight, right? Like, I'm sure he's going to be really important to the Sanderlanche. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know. He might be on the mission with Shallan. I have no idea.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what he is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That feels so out of place because that is specifically like a military general. You know what I mean? Like, it's such an odd.
Yeah, but I don't think it really put much risk on Lirin. Like, I agree with Arzu that like it didn't.
If he was caught harboring the general of the Herdazian army, his whole family gets killed immediately.
Well, but like he has reasonable proof that it wouldn't be intentional. He's like, oh yeah, we're going to do surgery. Like, I don't know. Those actions do go against how he kind of speaks with Kaladin of be a better slave, because he wasn't. He helped.
Yeah.
He helped undermine what was going on by the singers. So yeah, it is. You know, again, people are complex. I think it helps. I think like Lirin feels like a complicated character.
Oh, 100%. I just don't like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lirin feels like a very real person. He's just not someone that I would want to be in relationship with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel very bad for Kaladin, and it's obviously not going to help Kaladin's mental state at all.
Oh,
Thanks,
100%, no.
Lirin, you dick. Interlude 4, we have Vyre, a.k.a. Moash, a.k.a. fuck Moash. We hate this guy.
Weirdly, like a flashback.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest, I'll thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
His actions are a trauma response because it's Kaladin. His actions with the mink feel like his true character, but his loss and guilt fuel his trauma, and he lashes out at Kaladin. Sure, but if you lash out at your own kid, that doesn't help me like you. That still is the same thing of like, he feels like a real person because that's a thing that people do, but I don't like you. If you lash out at your kid like that, I think less of you.
Yeah.
I think it's your job as an adult to deal with your trauma in a way where you don't lash out at people.
Yeah.
I know that's controversial because people are like, no, but like, it's my trauma. But if you actually use like, it's my trauma response as an excuse, my thing is like, go fucking figure that out. Like, that's not other people's problem.
And I Liren, I don't think is making those kinds of excuses, but
No. But I do think it's your job as an adult to get to a point where you can be around people without losing it on them, right? And I don't keep people in my life who haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
Right? If I see a guy like lose it on his girlfriend, that guy and I aren't friends. Well, I'm not going to put the time into that relationship because I don't like when people treat people that way.
And Liren is so adamantly like, like War does this to people, that he doesn't see his own flaws.
Well, and he says that as if he is not a fucking traumatized mess without going to war.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, you ended up in the same place. Clearly, the violence wasn't the difference.
Yeah.
Because you're just as fucking wrecked as your son was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chris,
thank you for the super chat. It's the equivalent of someone shooting an ICE agent in a hospital or arresting someone. The doctor is allowed to be upset. What?
What?
The doctor is allowed to be upset with his son, who is there because he
trying to make it about modern politics doesn't make your point better, because that's not really equivalent.
Yeah, this is not a one-to-one comparison. They're not alike really in any way.
First of all, Liren isn't some random doctor in the hospital. It's his dad.
Yeah.
Look.
That doesn't work.
Anyway, Vyre. So this is a little bit earlier on in the conflict. Vyre is hauling stone because he needs to constantly be doing something, because if he stops and thinks for a fucking second, he's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I give Odium all my emotions, I'm actually like really cool and everything's great. I just can't take a moment of self-reflection ever, and I must always keep myself and my hands busy.
He's like the construction guy who is either doing construction, sleeping, or drinking.
Right.
Because if he stops doing one of those three things, because I in Calgary I knew a few guys like that, and they're great guys.
Yeah.
Generally, they were, had problems as a kid, usually with their dad, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But but those are, again, those are guys that are traumatized in a way that needs.
Moash needs group therapy.
Yeah.
Honestly, Moash is unwell, but
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you funnel all of your feelings into an immortal god.
Yeah.
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 And don't take responsibility.
So
in
he's
that way,
rocks.
Liren and Moash are similar in taking responsibility.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Kaladin takes responsibility for everyone, and he keeps being in relationship with people who can't take responsibility for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting, right? Which is why I think that him and it's why Adolin he has all of these devils on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Liren is a devil on his shoulder. He gives terrible advice. He's got a awful worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Moash, terrible advice, awful worldview. And then the angel on his shoulder is Adolin. And what is the difference between Adolin and the other characters? Adolin takes responsibility for his actions.
Yeah.
Adolin wants to take responsibility, apparently, for all of the actions of humanity 3,000 years ago. Adolin is a man...
Where do you draw the line?
...who understands that violence is a part of war, but takes no joy in it.
Yeah. He takes joy in the art of a duel,
yes,
not in the violence of hurting other people.
1,000%. Adolin takes joy in improving himself.
Yeah.
And he knows the names of everyone who works under him. Adolin is...
He's a good dude. That's why he can't be a Radiant. He's not fucked up enough.
He's not nearly traumatized enough to become a Radiant.
Although your father murdering your mother does kind of not help with that. But he seems to be handling it okay.
Adolin is literally going to empathy his way into being a Radiant.
Maybe.
He's going to empathize with his sword so hard that he's going to become an edge dancer. But Adolin is the opposite to everyone in Kaladin's like world, because he is the one who takes responsibility. Mm-hmm. In the same way that Kaladin does, but he does it in a much more healthy way, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Kaladin has a lot to learn from Adolin. And I love that. I love the way in which Adolin and Kaladin's relationship in this book has grown from the first three.
Me too.
It's one of my favorite things about Rhythm of War so far, even though they're not together right now. One of my favorite things is Kaladin and Adolin's bond, and just how much of a positive influence Adolin is on Kaladin's life.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So Vyre, Moash spend some time. Ken, my favorite Ashaman, shows up and is like, hey, I can't do this anymore. And Vyre's like, all right, chill. And he's like, wait, are you not going to like kill me? You're not mad? And he's like, nah, dude. Deuces. When you're ready to fight it, you're a great warrior, so when you're ready to fight again, come back. I'll let you in, but like...
Yeah, whatever you want, bro.
It's all good. And he's like, okay, you're fucking crazy.
He is unwell.
Sigur's like, dude has lost his goddamn mind.
Yeah. Anyway, Odium calls up Moash. It's like, hey, bro.
Hey,
you know that Kaladin dude? Yeah. How are we gonna fuck with that one? You know, how do we really like fuck him up? We need a good prank.
Have you ever seen The Nightmare on Elm Street? Bro, we are gonna Nightmare on Elm Street his ass so hard.
Bro, it's gonna be hilarious. Bro, he's not even fucking ready for this. We're gonna fuck him up so hard.
I was really into this until he was like, oh, you could visit him in his dreams. And I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my god. This scene was hilarious to me because I couldn't like because of that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they're like, yeah, bro, what are we gonna do? What's the plan, bro?
Can you bring because Odium is like, oh no, I've been able to like call you whenever for a while. We've upgraded to 5G on Roshar.
Oh yeah,
and so I can now call you whenever.
Fiber internet now. You don't gotta be sleeping anymore. Yeah, no, we're just like connected, you know, like we have a connection.
Moash and Kaladin have enough of a connection that Odium can use that connection to put Moash in Kaladin's dreams, which, given the like suicidal nature of their last conversation, could get so dark. Yep. Like this book might get so like bleak, and I hope we keep some light in it, because Shallan's plotline is very dark. And the invasion is dark. And, like, if Kaladin just starts having dreams where he kills himself over and over and over again all night, this could get real depressing real fast.
Yeah.
It's already kind of a depressing book.
We'll figure that one out together. Chat. Yeah. Interlude 5 is Lift. That was a cute little reaction.
Lift is not unconscious.
Yeah.
She and Wendell are watching two birds attack each other from the ventilation system she lives in.
Lift is also getting very upset because people are now leaving out food for her to steal, and she's like,
they
that
think it's cute.
Defeats the purpose. It's not stealing if you leave it out for me. You people are so stupid.
Well, and it's interesting because she is basically a demigod.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, she is not a normal Radiant. She has special powers from cultivation. She is sort of closer to an unmade than she is to a human at this point. Like, she can, like, turn food into Stormlight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, in sort of a Greek myth sort of way, she's sort of been elevated to, like, to something beyond an average being.
Yes.
And in that, she is getting, like, people are leaving out offerings to her. Mm-hmm. This section made me feel very, like, Greek demigod inspired. Like, people are almost, like, praying to her, the spirit of the tower. And
yeah, leaving offerings and stuff. That's so funny.
So they see a red and a green chicken flying. And the green chicken attacks the red chicken.
Yeah, and the red chicken loses.
So Lift boops down the tower and goes and finds the red chicken to save it. Mm-hmm. And then when she saves it, she looks up. Meanwhile, all the Radiants pass out. She does not. She loses some of her powers.
Yeah, she can't become awesome.
But she can if she pushes hard enough.
No, she is able to heal the chicken if she pushes hard enough.
I think she's able to do either if she pushes hard enough now. Because it just means that she's 4th ideal. So lift might get her...
No, she's like almost 4th ideal, I thought.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. Something like that. And so then she looks up, and the only reason we know it's Maraise is because of the green chicken from the scene with
and the
Shalana
scarred
there.
face, I guess. But
yeah.
Maraise just murdered an Alethi man.
And robbed him.
Yeah, are we supposed to know who this is? Probably.
The rings are interesting.
Yeah, the rings have to be a Fabrial, right? A soulcaster?
Or, hear me out. Oh, it's a soulcaster makes sense.
Maybe.
My thought was that this man is Terrace.
A Terraceman?
Yeah. And that those are his ferrochemical... if Maraise is from Scadrial and is a Allomancer, then this man could be Terrace, and the rings that he stole are his metal mines.
Maybe, yeah.
Just because...
If we're doing full crossover, yeah.
Well, Maraise isn't from here.
I know.
So, like,
100%.
If Maraise is from Scadrial and he hunts down a Terraceman here...
I just can't remember what person we've met that has a green chicken.
The green chicken is Maraise's.
Sorry, a red chicken.
We haven't.
We haven't?
I don't think the chicken and the human are... I think they're new characters to us.
Maybe, yeah, because the red chicken gets very sad.
She just specifically calls him a Lethi, which means he's darker skinned.
He's like kind of Asian coded.
The slightly darker skinned people on Scadrial are the Terrace.
Huh, okay.
And this book takes place pre-Wax.
Right, because Sazed is looking for his champion.
So this, if Maraise is hunting a Terraceman in the tower, that's something. I think I'm trying to make it more interesting than maybe it is.
Maybe.
And, but like, just thought it was really interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, Murray is going to try and kill Lift. He says he's been looking for an excuse to hunt her down. So
yeah,
that's going to go really well. I think it's because, and I think it is because Lift is probably the key to transporting Stormlight, because Lift is the one.
She can create it.
Yeah, who can.
He's probably not going to try and kill her, right? Like, he's probably going to take her to Scadrial and see if
he's going to experiment on her
and be like, make Stormlight. Because if she can make Stormlight on Scadrial, she becomes.
And they use a tuning fork to take it out.
Yeah, if she's the one being that can make Stormlight off of Roshar, she becomes a very interesting prize very quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's happening in the background of the invasion that it feels like Maraise would want to stop, but he seems too busy doing his own shit.
Yeah, we did get a really, obviously you can watch the reaction, but there was a lot of emotion earlier in this chapter when Lift is talking about her mom.
We didn't react to this chapter.
To Lift? Yeah, we did.
Nope, we reacted to Taravangian.
Oh.
We did not react to chapter 6.
Oh, why didn't you say that before when I said we reacted to it?
I must have not heard it the first time.
For some reason I thought we reacted to this.
Nope. We did not do that.
Anyways,
do you remember having an emotional response on camera to that chapter?
I don't really act any different if there's a camera in the room or not. So I don't know.
Remember earlier this podcast was like, my wife doesn't remember anything?
Yeah, there could be a camera on at all times. I don't think it would affect anything. I would still walk around naked.
No, I just love that you're like, there was a really sweet moment on video. We didn't even read this chapter together.
No, I mean, there's a sweet moment in the chapter where she's talking about her mom, and like, it was...
I know, but you're telling that story as if you remember... Yeah.
It was emotional. Yeah, I felt things. Whether or not the camera was on to capture that doesn't really matter, I guess.
That's wild. That was crazy.
I don't really... Yeah, it doesn't really matter if the camera's on.
No, I don't disagree with that. The fact that you just like went to go tell a story about a thing that didn't happen was just so fascinating.
A story?
Yeah, you said like there was a really fun...
I said it was emotional.
I know, but you said it as if you like remembered having that on the like set. It was just interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Arzu's going to add Clara's goldfish moments to the bingo cards.
Oh my god. No, bingo's going to be too easy then.
I mean, someone hit it at like an hour and 20 minutes today.
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean. It's going to make bingo way too easy.
Taravangian is the final little section here, and we're way over, so we got to...
Oh my god, yeah. Because we have to go get groceries still.
Yeah. Taravangian is well, I have to go get groceries. You can stay here and do stuff.
Well,
Taravangian is a man who is dying.
He's just a man.
Yes, and he is not doing too hot.
No, he's like ready to die. He knows that this is the time, this is the day. And he's like, you know what? Actually, I think I failed. I think I fucked up. Actually.
Yeah, he doesn't agree with his smart Taravangian as much as he used to. He has burned the majority of the diagram, but he's kept a few pages because they seem off somehow.
Well, they're the diagram that he rewrote.
Yeah, but he says there's something like strange about them. They don't seem to they don't really make sense in the way that he wants them to.
Oh,
and so it's today's the day. He's waiting for Odium to come tell him that it's time to betray everybody. Mm-hmm. And he is also pretty sure that Odium is attacking Urithiru, which he's right about.
Yeah, he is right on that.
And so he's just kind of sitting there waiting to see what's going to happen. And what happens? Odium shows up.
Yeah.
And
like, it is time.
Odium's like, yeah, I'm going to want you to do some stuff. And Taravangian, despite not being at his smartest, is able to manipulate Odium into showing him the pattern of Odium's mind once more.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, Odium can't be infallible because he thought Dalinar would turn and he didn't. And that's gonna matter.
And realizing that Odium was wrong that one time means that Taravangian is able to look around the pattern and look for the inconsistency. And he realizes, as he's seeing these like sketched black words in space or something.
It's a cool visual that's hard to picture.
Renarin is a problem. Not a problem
child.
In his existence. Renarin rocks. But a problem for Odium's sight. For some reason, the corruption of the Spren in Renarin's life. At least I think that's why it is.
Yeah.
Odium cannot predict anything related to anyone around Renarin. And guess who's around his son a lot? Dalinar.
Yeah.
So, Renarin might be the key.
Right now, Taravangian is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Renarin might be the key to Taravangian getting out of this.
We also find out that Odium is scared of Szeth and the sword.
Yes.
Very important.
Also, Taravangian realizes that because Szeth is scratched out of the whatever, that Szeth must be close to Renarin. Therefore, Szeth can't be in the tower. Szeth is here.
That he must be
Does
here.
Does he tell Odium that?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Szeth isn't. He's not scared of Szeth. He's scared of Nightblood.
Yeah. But
which
Szeth
is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I think that Nightblood sucks in your negative emotions.
Yes, Nightblood feeds off of like killing evil, right? That, like Nightblood wasn't created with a specific intended purpose.
Yeah.
That makes him especially deadly, specifically to Odium.
If they suck Odium into Nightblood, and that's the end of the series, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
That would be an ending.
It would be an ending. Jabroni, thank you for that super chat. Just tuning in right now, wanted to say Nerdy did a really awesome job on his solo book club. It was very fun.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is very kind.
Once I read the book, I'll go watch it.
No, you won't.
I might.
She's not going to watch it.
Fine. What?
First time theory from Karen here. I got the impression it's because Renarin got the future sight powers, so end up basically two dueling ATM user situation. Yeah, that's kind of what I had said in the interlude reaction. If you go watch it, like there's something about the fact, like I think that if Odium couldn't, it's not specifically Renarin, it's any of the Spren that Renarin had being corrupted. All of the radiants of that order who have that corruption. He's a truth watcher, right? What's Renarin's order technically?
Yeah, I think so.
He has a corrupted Spren, but he's still I think it's a truth watcher.
Well, but also we know that Odium can't see the corrupted Spren properly because we have that interlude with
truth watcher. So I think any corrupted truth watcher Spren would have the same effect on Odium. It's not specifically Renarin. He's just, I think, the only one who has one right now.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Gliss is his name, right?
Gliss, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and whatever kind of Spren Gliss is, anyone with that corrupted Spren would have the same problem for Odium.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's all corrupted Spren, though. I think it's specifically the ones that are tied to the future.
I mean, Odium can't see the corrupted Spren that's on its way to Mraize, I don't think, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
But he can see the windspren, so...
Well, it seemed like the windspren were used as like a cover. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that, how it works.
Mraize coming to Radiant makes me so much more nervous now.
I know.
Given the fact that
He sucks. He's the worst.
Hunting lift. Yeah.
And, then Taravangian gets arrested.
Yeah, he does the betrayal. He writes the span read. He writes... Do it. A nice little Star Wars reference there from Brandon Sanderson. Thank you so much, Brando.
Yeah.
Arzu,
thank you. Welcome
back. A member for a full month here. Holy shit. Read out which characters are the POVs next. Can I do that? Sure. I have to get to the end of part 2.
Oh, yeah, right. We're kind of going to zoom through the end of book club here because I did not realize we were so over.
Part 3, Songs of Home. Kaladin, Navani, Dalinar, Venli.
What?
What the fuck?
What?
I'm going to read the last 2 and then I'm going to go to the third from the end last. I'm going to read this again. Number 1 is Kaladin. Number 2 is Navani. Number 3 is Dalinar. Number 4 is Venli. Number 5, I'm going to wait 1 second. Number 6 is Yasna.
Okay.
And number 7 is Renarin.
Okay.
Who do you think is number 5? I want you to guess. I will give you this. It is a listener.
Is it Eshonai?
It's Eshonai.
You said listener. There's only one it could be.
Could have been Relaine.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
I swear to God, if Eshonai is fucking alive, there will be no book club next week. I swear to fucking God, chat, if I was right and Eshonai is still alive, I am going to quit reading these fucking books. I'm not being 100% sure.
I was like, well, that's the end of book club.
Depending on how it's handled, but like...
Huh.
I was so thrilled when it turned out she was actually dead.
That's awful.
That was like a great moment. No, it means that things matter. It means that things matter.
Yeah.
Things have to matter in these books. If Eshonai's alive, I'm going to be fucking furious. Because now you can come back. Look, the Zeth one, at least he just died. I've come to terms with the fact that Zeth was only just dead. But if you can come back a fucking 2 years later, then you are at D&D. And look, D&D...
Unless Timber is Eshonai like we thought.
But
I don't know.
Then why would that...
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, that is the end of book club. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to do our high-low.
This better be a fucking flashback. I'm going to lose my goddamn mind.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here. So
what's your fucking high, Clarice?
My high is the tower, not the entire tower like sequence, but the battle. Teofil, the soldiers fighting against all odds and not having their magic powers to rely on, was my high for this section.
Yeah, that's fair. It was so cool. Teofil rocks.
Yeah.
Like, pour one out for Teofil, man. Please clip your reaction to the characters. Yeah, I will. Fucking Teofil rocks, man.
Yeah.
Teofil's so good.
Yeah.
My low. I didn't really fully... I didn't think either side made great arguments in the Adolin trial, like, scene. It didn't feel as much of a necessity as the book. They were like, oh, this is a very, you have, like some fantasy books, they're like, you have invoked the 1,000-year apology or something. And it's like a thing that everybody understands. And it's like world building because they're like, oh, they invoked the thing, the curfew of the ancients must be honored or whatever, right? He's just like, I demand a trial for a thing I didn't do. And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And I was like, I don't I don't know that either side needed to do any of what they just did, but sure.
Right.
It's just, it's one of those moments where you don't hear about that feeling in a review, because when I read the whole book, a moment like that is so justified by what happens later. But because that's the last moment we have of it, right now I'm like, I don't know, the book has to make that moment work for me.
Yeah.
And it might. Next week I might be like, oh, I get what they're doing. It totally works. This is great.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those things that the conversations that you only really get if you stop and you're like, all right. It just didn't work for me. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't ruin the book at all. Aelin is still my favorite character in these books, right now. And so, like, I love Aelin. I just was like, this trial seems too nebulous.
Yeah. I think my low is losing out on Relane's perspective. I don't know when Relane will come back. I think that he will, but I think that I'm sad to see him go, even though he hasn't been the biggest part of the story.
I mean, he might not go anywhere. He might go be like, Venli's a POV character. He might literally show up. Venli's like, Relane, come with me.
Yeah,
and he might he might be safe among the singers because Venli shelters him.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, we might literally get to follow Relane throughout this whole invasion because he's with Venli for most of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I agree with you. Losing him would suck, but
yeah.
There's so much room for him to still be around in the Venli side.
What's your high?
Oh fuck. Fucking Maya doing the kata, man. Holy shit, what a cool moment.
That was my other. I was like, I hope you pick it.
Maya being back to back with Aelin and then them fighting off the Tukari together was
fucking peak.
Like, one as cool a moment as I think the series has had, and it's had some bangers. But like, the fact that she is able to do what she's able to do just because of Aelin's empathy being that big, what a fucking, like, incredible bit of storytelling.
Yeah.
What, you know, like, what a remarkable capstone to this plot, because we think that it's going towards Radiance. That's, you know what I mean, we think that's going towards her becoming back, and like, that would be an incredible climax as well. Maybe. But this, without it being like the end of that story, this was such an incredible climax for the two of them and their relationship together. Just awesome. So awesome. I fucking loved it. Yeah. If you like the video, like, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below, because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is Navani Colin.
Yeah, she crushes it.
Yeah. Do you think she changed her name when she got married again? From Colin to Colin? This was Book Club. If you don't want to listen to Smut Corner, you should probably go rate us 5 stars on every Apple and Spotify and every podcast feed. Give us reviews. Lots of 5-star ratings, but not a lot of reviews.
There's also only a few days left to vote for us for the Crit Awards.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, I think, is or Sunday. So vote for us in the Crit Awards. We're best charity event.
Hell yeah.
That's what we're nominated for. We aren't that yet.
We are.
We could be that if you vote for us. Smut Corner. Add sex. Go.
Yeah, I think you were right. There's not a lot to...
Yeah. Because like, Shallan is like in too rough a spot mentally.
Yeah, Shallan is not well. And like, even them going into lasting integrity, like, I don't know if the honor spren know how to party, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, their sex is very boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
their sex is to literally
they
procreate.
honor consent.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
The honor spren, very consensual.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Not very exciting.
No. Yeah. No. I don't think there's a lot of sex going on. No, you know what? That's not true. That first night after the surrender, you know, a lot of people fucked like crazy. Just because they're like, oh, this is our last night.
Oh, yeah, like we might die.
Yeah.
Yeah, before they can get more singers in here to keep an eye on us, yeah.
There is that sort of like, oh, this is our last chance kind of vibe.
Maybe, yeah.
That can make people do the horniest and weirdest things they've ever done.
True.
So, yeah, to the guy who got pegged for the first time because he always wanted to try it, but he never wanted to be judged, who thought that it was a good time to get pegged because
he might die. The
singers are here now and he might die. We say to you, happy book club. Thank you to our mods, and thank you to everyone for joining us. We will be back next week with the next section. I don't know. Read the schedule. I don't remember what chapters we're reading.
It's in the Discord.
There's probably too many audiobook reactions, so make sure you become a member so you don't miss those, or sign up over at patreon.com/nerdynightly.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.